Well, welcome everybody to the Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you. That's right, a fantastic one. There's a lot going on in boxing. There's a lot we didn't cover in the last episode, so we got to get right down to it. I'm going to be opening up the phone lines later on in the show once more opinions are thrown out and more people populate the chat and so on. But for the moment, we will be talking about everything, and this is your show. You guys get to call in and give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. But we are going to be opening up the phone lines very, very soon. And you will know about it because the phone number is going to be on the screen. Now, before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. Although it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. You can also join Patreon for free. But do sign up to let us know that there's people interested in that platform. You can also donate via Buy Me a Coffee. That the app link is in the description below. But like I said, the most important thing is you continue to like, you subscribe, and you spread that BDA gospel. All right, fellas? Speaking of the initiated, shout out to Rafael Garza for reestablishing his membership program. Shout out to Rafael Garza, who says, has anyone heard from Zodiac Killer Voice, Unabomber Voice, or NPR? I get them confused because they all sound the same. Well, I think you're confusing them. There's NPR, who calls in and always says Deus Volt, or whatever he says in Latin there, seize the day. And then you got Jerry, who calls in and gets into it with Bucho over Golovkin. So it's two distinct individuals. At least I like to think so. Shout out to Super Anderson, Aldo, J. Will, Rapback Starking Company, Never Sobers, Langsbury, Super Sardonic, Young Guns, Grim Reaper, LT, The Breeder. What the name is that? The Breeder. Look at that. Is that who is that? Oh, I think that's Brandon Figueroa. Looked a little bit like Elliot Rogers. Lalo Soto Gaming, shout out to him, Bernard, Sargent, M.AW, Super Sardonic, and many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. And I got to tell you, this is going to be a fantastic one because we got a lot going on in boxing. First of all, we have on Saturday, we have Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin de los Santos. Although I have to say a couple of things about that. I think I already mentioned it in passing on the Monday show that there's a bit of an asterisk next to that fight. You also get a bunch of Davises on the card. You got Keon. That's right. The Davises are like the Ennises or the Ellises. There's a bunch of them running around the boxing world. Let me just to clarify here, to be as precise and exact, succinct, and terse as possible on this Friday morning. Keyshawn Davis. Then you got Kelvin Davis. Kelvin, not Celsius Davis. Then you got Keon Davis. And Kelvin Davis is taking on Nahir Albright. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the press conference. There was a lot of joing back and forth. The Davises like to talk. A lot like their friend, or their friends rather. All that people from that Bomac stable, Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson, they cannot keep their mouth shut. Now, I know Shakur Stevenson isn't trained by Bomac, but for all intents and purposes, he's part of that circle. They cannot keep their mouths shut. A little bit like Bomac. He can't keep his mouth shut either at the restaurant, at the buffet. But be that as it may, Kelvin is going to be taking on Nahir Albright, who's a decent fighter. Gave Keyshawn Davis a very tough fight in what ended up being a no contest. I believe that was last year. And he also hurt Keyshawn Davis in that fight. So it's an interesting one. Then on that same day, earlier on the day, you've got Fabio Wardley versus Justice Huni. Huni, you shall remember, went 12 or 10 rounds, I believe. He went a distance against Larena, who's a very tough South African, big puncher, but quite limited in his own way. And Huni got hurt a bunch of times, but he is Maori, I believe. I think he's from New Zealand, right? Let me just double check here. Australian, mate, oi. And so that's an interesting fight right there. I don't know. Fabio Wardley's already in his 30s, early 30s, so he's not that young. And he did struggle against Clark in the first fight, so it should be an interesting one. And then the day after, Sunday morning. Wake up nice and early to see Junto Nakatani in action. If you care about the belts, I guess we can talk about that. That this is a unification fight as he takes on Ryusuke Nishida. Now Nishida, southpaw, mobile, beat Emmanuel Rodriguez. I believe it was 2 fights ago or 1 fight ago. And so hopefully he puts up a better fight than most of Nakatani's recent opponents who have failed to go the distance against a guy in Nakatani who's considered top 10 pound for pound now and who is in line to fight Naoya Inoue for what should be a Japanese mega fight, and of course not to discount it as a as a mega fight in its own here in this side of the Pacific. So very interesting fight. Very interesting fight. Scrap TV says Huni is not chinny. Did I say he was chinny? Maybe I did in passing. Hey, listen, early in the morning. Lorena can crack, so you might be right. It's not that he's chinny. But I guess we're going to find out, right? Against Fabio Wardley. Fabio. What type of name is that, by the way? Is Fabio. So, yeah, that's about what we've got there. Hold on a second. I don't know if Sobers, if you want in, I'm going to invite you. And if you don't answer, don't feel pressured to answer. Let me read a couple of comments here, and then we'll see what's going on in the boxing world. Oh yeah, well, we got to talk about what the main thing, the byline in the. Hold on a second. Why is this thing still? There we go. All right, shout out to Sobers for joining us here. I don't know. People call him Sobi now. Sobi. That's a little bit too close to soapy, which sounds kind of like prison slang or something. I'm not comfortable with that. But hey, listen, people are gonna nickname each other the way they want, and I think people are even saying that Sobers is the one that came up with that nickname. So, Sobers, is that true? Can you confirm or deny that?
No, of course not. It's just a little name just to piss me off.
I don't know, man. You didn't sound all that convincing.
But it reminds me of that. Did you ever drink that drink Sobe Energy? It was like a lizard.
A lizard?
Yeah.
No, I never drank that.
I think the brand turned into Life Water now.
Yeah, well, you didn't sound all that convincing either, man. When you said that, no, I didn't come up with it. You sounded like Elon Musk when they asked him about the tariffs and about how he felt about the immigration bans, student bans. He goes, I think what we want to focus on is on space right now. And then the interview goes, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought everything was on. I was under the impression." Yeah, exactly. I don't want to talk about the name. Like, hey, Sobers, I thought everything was on the table. Sobers like, no. And then he looks to the side. He goes, no. He just repeats it no second time. But okay, I'm trying to figure out this fucking new Discord, man. I'm trying to figure out how to. Whatever. Okay, there we go. Finally, okay. I wanted to see different.
What are you trying to do?
It worked. I was just trying to see the different icons here. FST wants to get on. We've been juggling with the what's his name? We've been juggling with different things here on the morning show. I'm gonna invite FST, make things a little bit more, spice things up a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that because I invited FST, so he had to take us to another room.
I was talking to him earlier, BDA.
On your live? On the VC?
Yeah. I wasn't live, but I was on the VC.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. What time is it in New Zealand over there?
It is 11 in the evening. It's been a long day, but happy to talk to you guys. Thanks for having me on, BDA.
Well, thank you for being on. Always interesting to hear your opinions. And I got to tell you, 11 in the morning, you're not drunk, are you?
Oh, 11 at night.
At night.
Evening here in New Zealand.
Oh, it's night. Okay. My mistake. I'm sorry. The caffeine hasn't kicked in yet. You're not drunk, are you?
Of course not. I don't drink.
You're a better man than I am, I guess.
Ask Fight Sports Talk what I was telling him earlier.
Oh, God. No, let's just get into the news, okay? I appreciate you having me on, BDA, because...
Wait. What was going on, FST? What was going on?
Absolutely. Look, I'm not going to give these trolls any ammunition. Can we just get on to the news?
Wait a minute. Are there
Yes,
sexual
you
sexual
freaking
assault allegations against FST? Is that what you're intimating here, Sobers?
What the?
No.
Okay.
Can
All
we
right.
just get on to the news?
Well, we'll get to the news, and then, but we're gonna. I mean, evidently, it must be something serious because FST doesn't want to talk about it. But we're gonna get to it. We're gonna tease out the information one way or another from FST. We're gonna extract the information via FBI, CIA, non-sexual tactics. By the way, because I know FST kind of gets uncomfortable with that. Just the word "sex" throws you off, doesn't it, FST? Sex.
It's the way you say sexual, BDA.
So are we asking the question still if Teofimo ducked or just how badly did he duck?
Well, let me tell you.
Kind of a
Bob Arum came out. Okay, for people that have been living under the rock, Teofimo Lopez and Haney were negotiating. Lopez, not that long ago, was complaining about the money. He's always he's always been complaining about the money, as far as I remember, all the way back to 2020, when he said Top Rank was lowballing him. But apparently the Sheik made him a generous offer to fight Devin Haney, and then earlier this week, negotiations fell apart. The Haneys were very quick in releasing a statement saying that it was Lopez who ducked. I was on the fence. I was like, I want to hear more because I don't trust the Haneys at all. I don't trust the Lopez either, but I don't trust the Haneys either.
Mm-hmm.
But even Bob Arum came out and said he doesn't understand. Bob Arum, by the way, Tom Brank's Lopez's promoter, or at least involved in the negotiations, I believe. And he said, when someone is giving you tremendous amounts of money you've never seen before, why are you angry? And then he said, I can't figure it out. I can't think of a theory of what he's trying to do with this. The money. And this was a much more winnable fight than against Jaron Ennis, he said. Why are you attacking Turkey? Bob Arum asked rhetorically. It's just craziness. I can't counsel him because you can't. Hold on. I can't counsel him because you can't counsel someone who's not listening. This, he said, is nuts. Turkey must be chagrined. By the way, I thought I was the only one that uses the word chagrin. Good to see Bob Arum picking up the BDA vocabulary. But then, let me just say real quick here, then what ended up going on is we have confirmation from Lopez's side that Lopez did indeed drop out, and this is what he had to say. Some representative here, hold on, where is it? Okay, Keith Connolly. Sounds like a drunk Irishman, by the way. I mean, I'm not saying he's a drunk Irishman, but I'm saying it sounds like a drunk Irishman. Lopez's co-manager, who knows what he does day to day, says, and he made a statement to Ring Magazine on Thursday, which said, unfortunately, Teo won't be fighting in August for personal reasons that I will keep confidential. First of all, by the way, this is a bad phrase or sentence because it makes it sound like he's saying, look, he says, unfortunately, Teo won't be fighting in August for personal reasons. Makes it sound as if he was fighting for personal reasons. What he should have said is Teo won't be fighting due to personal reasons. Anyway, that's just me being a grammar Nazi. I do lock people in the gas chambers who use bad grammar. And he said, we planned on fighting, but with what was going on, he wanted to make sure he was 100% right mentally and physically, and August was just too quick of a turnaround. I expect Teo to be back later this year, bigger, I don't know what that means, and better than ever. I told you he was an Irish drunk. But what does that mean? Short turnaround. He last fought in early May. So he would have had June, July to train. And by the way, we can only speculate about his personal reasons, but this is a guy who's been doing this type of shenanigans for the past 5 years. So you can only have so much credit and goodwill with the people before boxing fans start getting tired of his shtick. FST, what do you think about this?
I just think it's Teofimo just giving us more of a reason to not trust him because, he's done this. Here's the sad thing. He's done this repeatedly. Like, he beats Lomachenko. By the way, salute to Lomachenko for retiring. I'm glad he did. I've been calling for him to retire.
Oh, did you say you're glad he's dead?
No, I'm glad he did.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He retired.
My apologies.
Yeah. Salute to Loma. I've been calling for him to retire for the last 18 months. Beats Lomachenko. He says after the fight at the press conference, everyone wants to be money made, but you got to be Pretty Boy Floyd first. And then less than a month later, he meets Eddie Hearn and he says, well, I'll fight Devin Haney for $10 million. which he was nowhere near worth that amount. In fast forward a bit, he loses to Kambosos. He comes up with the wildest Alex Jones conspiratard theories ever. Then he blames Eddie Hearn for his loss, goes back to Bob Arum when he was bragging about leaving. Fast forward, he beats Josh Taylor. He says that Terence Crawford is ducking him. And then he comes up with all these reasons to not fight Subriel Matias. He ends up fighting Barboza. Now, less than a couple of months after the fight with Barboza, where he assumed makes the most money of his career, he's now throwing Turkey under the bus intentionally with the dumbest accusations ever. He can't get out of his own way, to the point where I actually wonder if he enjoys doing this. I wonder if he enjoys pulling the rug out from under his feet, and so he can fall flat on his face and then just blame the world for it, because he does this repeatedly. And I can't put my finger on it other than maybe that this is just part of who he is. He just wants to keep on ripping into people and blaming the world for when things go wrong. And if something's fine, if the situation's perfect, he'll find a way to screw things up, because, again, I can't understand why he keeps doing this.
It's interesting. There you go. Yeah, well, there you go. FST said he wants to put his finger on Teofimo Lopez, and he can't quite put that finger in Teofimo Lopez. And Sobers, what do you think about that? I mean, this situation. Do you think Lopez is his own worst enemy? What can we speculate about what might be some of the reasons why he would decline this Haney fight?
I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused about it, because I thought like a week ago, Boots was ducking Teofimo, and so was Haney. He was asking for an astronomical amount of money to fight him, and now it seems like it's been flipped over on its head, and Teofimo's the one playing around. So I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm not I want to see what they all have to say about it. I want to see what Teofimo have to say about what he has to say about it for himself. But it's really stupid. The whole point of Turkey getting into boxing, and I think we mentioned this before. It was to remove these A-side money fighters like Gervonta Davis, and the money thing is no longer an issue. Now you just got to get in the ring and fight when you're working with Turkey, and the money thing doesn't seem to be an issue. So why don't these guys want to get in the ring and fight? I don't know what's up with Lopez. I would favor him against Teofimo, but against Haney, right? But I don't know, for some reason that he was interested in fighting Boots, and now he's not interested in fighting Haney. Like you're saying, that seems like a more winnable fight. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what to say about it.
There's a picture I'm posting here on the screen there, Sobers. I don't know how good you are with Photoshop, but is it possible to sort of somebody out there Photoshop the Sheik in the background of this photo? No, but you're right, man. I mean, I'm sitting here scratching my head going, what is this dude on? I mean, this is a big fight. He's always complaining about the money. Why not take it? Personal reasons. Why? He already got divorced, from what I understand. So what is it? You're divorced now. What's the personal issue? Did your father not compliment your
Well, yeah. Well, I think BDA. It's again, Teo. There's got to be something about him where he seems to think the entire world is against him, and he has to ruin everything for everyone else before somebody ruins it for him. Because again, he wasn't just saying that Eddie Hearn was behind the loss and this was all a setup, etc. before he even made it to the fight. He was saying this when he was happy. He and his dad were saying, yes, this is the new family. We're going to get paid millions. This is where the future's at. And then, again, flipped. I mean, you think this guy had multiple personalities. And, again, I've said this repeatedly on other shows. I don't care if Turkey was going to cut his money in half but for him to fight Devin Haney instead of him fighting Boots Ennis. I don't care if he was going to get paid less for the Haney fight. To go public and use the words that he did, that's literally like the dumbest thing in the world. Like you don't do that.
What words are you referring to?
Dictator, spelled D-I-C-K.
Why do can I just ask, why do like words related to procreation trouble you so much? Like that's what you thought was unacceptable? The dictator thing,
he
not
said a
everything
no
else,
nowhere.
not the racial things with the racial connotations. That one, dictator, that's the one that made you tremble. That's the one that got you excited and
All
sweaty.
All right.
Did a turkey touch you on your no-nos, FST?
It's just a dumb thing for him to do. Right? So
I agree. I agree.
I don't know.
I agree. I was just curious about why that one particularly like excited you or made you have to lock yourself in the shower, cold shower. But I mean, listen, I'm positive or optimist rather. Excuse me. That's the word I was looking for. That this fight could still happen down the line. But it would have been great if we could have had it in August. Was that?
Sorry, BDA. I literally don't think this fight is possible because.
Okay. Hold on, but let me finish my thought, please, because I think I'm like I said, I'm optimistic. I'm always the ultimate optimist. I try and I hope as much as I can. But it would have been, whether it happens or not, it would have been great to have it in August because the summer is shaping up to be filled with some interesting fights, but no mega fights. No fights that really make you go, I'm going to be looking forward to the build-up. And this would have had a good build-up. But now we won't be getting it in August, maybe not even in the fall or the winter, because you never know with Teofimo Lopez. And I'm thinking, I don't know. But Sobers, let me ask you this, though. Is it poetic justice in a way? Because I'm sort of enjoying, too, as much as I wanted to see the fight, I'm sort of enjoying Lopez giving the Haneys a taste of their own medicine, jerking people around during negotiations. What do you think about that, Sobers? Are you kind of glad that the Haneys have to go back to the drawing board knowing that Haney doesn't command the money that he asked for pre-Garcia?
Well, it's good that they're getting a taste of their own medicine, but really as fans, we just want to see the fight. You know, the money shouldn't be an issue, man. Just sign and get in the ring, bro.
I'm kind of giddy seeing Bill Haney. Immediately, they're the ones that try to say, like they had try to have one up on Lopez. He pulled out of the fight. He pulled out of the fight. Okay, well, what are you gonna do now? You're gonna rematch Prograis? You're gonna try to get Lomachenko to retirement? They don't want a difficult fight, but at the same time, the Sheik appears to be cutting costs. Because Crawford said that he's taking 10 mil to fight Canelo, which is very good money. But apparently, there was an expectation that he was going to be receiving more. I think the Sheik, after seeing Crawford completely bomb at the Madrimov fight, financially speaking, I think the Sheik said, listen, I'm willing to throw around big money to make these fights happen, but you're getting an opportunity to fight one of the best fighters in the world, in Canelo Alvarez. 10 million should be enough. How much more do you want? Especially since you don't draw crowds. And I think that's maybe that's what's going to happen with Haney too. Unless he takes a dangerous fight, the Sheik is not going to put him in there. I don't care if they're Muslim brothers. I don't care if they're both having visions of Allah or whatever. It ain't going to happen. That type of payday.
No, it's not. It's not going to happen. And again, I saw an interview with Teofimo Lopez where he's bragging about not making the fight. Now, anybody can agree with him and say, "Yeah, you show him, Teo. You show the Haneys who's boss. You put the Haneys in their place." I mean, this is just retarded. Like, why would anybody support pulling out of a fight? And not just I know I seem to be the only person in the YTBC who's saying this, but I've been desperately wanting to see this Haney. Let's take the word desperate out. I've been wanting to see this Haney Lopez fight since they fought it at Times Square. So when the fight's there, and again, Teo and his dad have been saying for years that this fight would be easy, wouldn't even be challenging, that Haney's scared of his own shadow. Why not take the fight? And now you're bragging about it not happening. I don't think the fight ever happens. And frankly, I don't even really care at this stage. But again, I seem to be the only person who really wants to see this fight. So maybe I'll just stop talking here.
Maybe you should stop talking altogether.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, you should stop talking altogether. No, I'm kidding. No, but I think, by the way, just to clarify, when you say you're the only one who wanted to see Lopez Haney, you're talking about seeing that fight as opposed to Garcia Haney, when everyone was talking about the Garcia Haney rematch. Okay. Yeah, because I remember, this, just real quick, remember that this fight was being talked about all the way back in 2021 when Lopez was still the lightweight champion, and Haney was just starting to become a fleshing out his career as a lightweight contender. So, but yeah, you're right. Everyone was talking about Garcia, Haney too. Meanwhile,
my thoughts have changed a lot since then. I'm talking about since Garcia got destroyed by Rolly Romero. I thought I don't care what Garcia did to Haney and what he still may do to Haney. I had no interest in that fight whatsoever. I want to see Teofimo versus Devin Haney. So yeah, that's the time frame I was talking about.
Well, maybe Haney can get in there against Jermaine Ortiz. That's what I would like to see. Jermaine Ortiz running from one side of the ring and Haney running against the other, and these guys just circling away from each other for 12 rounds. I want to see Haney get a taste of his own medicine. I want to see him fight someone that's going to run, who's going to refuse to engage. See how he likes it. See how he looks. Let's see if he can cut the ring off. By the way,
well, you are officially the only person on this entire planet who wants to see that fight, including the bugs. I'm pretty sure the insects don't even want to see that fight. So you're literally one in a zillion.
Shout out to Zolbers for finding this picture here. This sort of explains what happened. I think Teofimo Lopez, that was him. I think he was blinking SOS in this video right now. There's only a still. Shout out to Zolbers for finding it. But I think he was he was in duress.
I think this is, I think this is where that the phrase of dictator was coming into play from Teofimo.
Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. All right. So that's enough about the Lopez Haney saga. I mean, it's not happening. Lopez has mental issues going on. And by the way, I just want to reiterate, after the whole racial component that he introduced into his saga unfolded, I said, why are people surprised about this dude acting like a jerk off? I mean, he's been acting this way since prior to the Lomachenko fight. But because he was fighting Lomachenko, who we just subsequently, as soon as he retired, a lot of people on Twitter started shitting on him. He's one of the most hated guys in boxing who doesn't give you a reason to hate him. It's interesting, Lomachenko. But hold on, FST, come on, man. You got to give me a chance here. Lomachenko is a guy who is hated because when you ask people and you press them, well, why do you dislike Lomachenko? They go, well, because he was overrated. Some guy actually posted on Twitter, if he wasn't overrated, he would have been more liked by the fans. First of all, hardcore boxing fans enjoyed his fights because he was an action fighter who was also defensively responsible, so he actually showed you the sweet signs. And I'm thinking, is that all it takes to be that disliked in boxing? You know, he didn't make any racial comments like Teofimo Lopez or like Devin Haney. He didn't run over a pregnant woman and then flee the scene like Tank Davis did. He didn't get caught on PEDs like Ryan Garcia did. But God forbid the establishment overrates him. God forbid ESPN and his promoter Top Rank overrate him. That's what made... listen, the real reason was he was a white guy. He looked way too much... With the crew cut and the white skin, he looked way too much like a police officer that pulled some of these guys out the road. And so that's why they disliked him. That's the real reason.
I disagree.
Why is that? Why do you disagree?
Well, no one's a bigger fan of Lomachenko than me, and I support him in many different ways. I wouldn't even use the word hated. I mean, every great fighter who has a big fan base is disliked by others. I mean, the more loved you are, the more hated you are. So I don't think he's definitely one. I definitely disagree. He's one of the most hated guys in boxing. I think he's one of the most polarizing guys in boxing. And I mean, as far as was he overrated, again, biggest fan of Lomachenko on the planet, but yeah, he was very overhyped. But yeah, okay, it doesn't make. I don't look at him any differently. So, but yeah, in terms of him being hated and because of his skin color, I strongly disagree.
Well, first of all, let me ask you this because I need to get some context. Well, Sobers, you want to say something?
I mean, it's just the typical response I would expect from a PBC cuck. I don't see any kind of a racial bias or skin color coming into it. They used to call him White Jesus because they would say that the reason why he was elevated to where he was at is because of his skin color. So there's a lot of that in boxing, bro. You can't just ignore it.
No, I'm not ignoring it. Of course, there's a lot of dumb shit. I mean, I put up with a lot of anti-white racist shit in my short time on YouTube. But just in terms
you're
of him being
anti-white?
hated, I think that's. Oh, I have.
I knew it.
Well, what type of anti-white racist stuff do you post? Like, do you call them Neanderthals and cave dwellers and stuff like that?
I don't think Lomachenko is hated. I disagree.
You're just gonna ignore my question, I guess.
There are people.
Today. But
there are people.
listen, I mean, did you hear my question, FST? Like you said, you post anti-white racist stuff. What type of anti-white racist stuff do you post on your channel?
There are people who don't like Lomachenko, but there's also people
FST,
who
are
love
you
him. It's the same as with
Sobers? Can you
every
hear me? Am I coming through here?
Oh, I hear you clearly.
FST, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
I just
okay,
don't think there's.
You said you post anti-white stuff. Did I mishear that?
I didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But anyway, maybe I misheard, or you misspoke. I think that's the most likely scenario. But go ahead, keep going. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
For me?
Yes, you, FSC.
Yeah. I don't think Lomachenko was hated. I think there are fans who don't like him. There are definitely fans who dumb fans who said, "Oh, he was only good because he was only hyped up because he was white." Yeah, there's always fans who are going to say dumb things, but no, I don't think he was. I think actually he was one of the most beloved fighters ever. I don't know if we're going to get into the whole how much was he overhyped conversation, but you can apply that to a lot of fighters. I mean, I compare him to Aaron Pryor, so yeah, it is what it is. But
I don't understand your argument, though. I don't
retire.
understand your counter argument. I'm saying, because I saw it during the Lomachenko, the peak of Lomamania. Right. The peak of Lomamania. I was there. And by the way, just for the record, I wasn't on board with Lomamania because the peak of Lomamania had some people, not a lot, but he had some people saying, and when I say the peak of Lomamania was after he made Rigondeaux quit, some people were saying, "Man, he only has to, the only one that can compete with him or beat him decisively is Terence Crawford at 140." That was the peak of Lomamania. But during that peak of Lomamania, I saw a lot of people hating him, and I saw a lot of racial components. Your counter argument is, well, there's a bunch of other boxers who have been hated, therefore I don't think Loma was hated. That's what you're essentially telling me.
Yeah, I don't. There's always one group of fans who are going to pull out the dumb cut.
I know that, but to say that doesn't denigrate the fact or wash away the fact that he was hated based on his race.
By who? By a bunch of racially biased fans?
Yeah, it doesn't matter by who. That's my point. Is that he was hated because of his race. They hated him because he was a white guy.
Well, there's black fighters who get hated on because they're black. I mean, there's racism.
So does that wash away the fact that Lomachenko? I said Lomachenko was hated because of his race. You don't seem to want to agree with that for some strange reason. Maybe you didn't misspeak. Maybe that anti-white racial component is in your channel, and you just don't want to admit it.
And he was quick to bring up racism against black fighters, right?
Exactly. FST, I think you're not being completely forthcoming here. And it's a morning show. We should be able, well, at least here on my side of the pond, you should be able to be a little bit more forthcoming, a little bit more out there with your views. Don't try to hide them too much. You got to be unfiltered to entertain the people as well.
I'm not hiding my views. I'm just okay.
Well, listen, I'm not saying he was the most hated, just to clarify. But I'm saying is he was hated more for in terms of, if you put it within the context of the fact that he didn't do anything to make people hate him. He fought the best. He didn't haggle over money. He didn't haggle over the location of the fight or the size of the ring or the brand of the gloves. You never saw him saying anything racial. You never saw him get caught on PEDs. You never saw him running over a pregnant woman and then fleeing the scene when she's bleeding, asking for help. But still, the amount of hate he received. I mean, after he lost to Haney, and he received a phone call from his kid, and the ESPN surreptitiously decided to capture the moment of him crying. How many fucking LDBC channels did I see posting that picture going, cry about it, bitch? Some even say cry about it, white bitch, I believe.
I've tried to, there was this one guy, people can guess who he is, so I've tried to debate him on this because his arguments regarding Loma and many other fighters, Usyk and Inoue, are so retarded. But no surprise, he won't debate me because he's a charlatan. Yeah, no, I'm not denying, but there's retards out there in all areas. So I don't really put this. I just don't view it as conspiracy like as you do. There's always going to be fans who hate you because for dumb reasons. Yeah, I think overall Loma got the. Well, actually, I think he got more credit than you would expect him to get, given how few fights he had, and in the end, he never achieved undisputed. He got damn close. I thought he beat Haney very clearly, but yeah, I think personally he was. I think the amount of love and criticism he received was fair.
First of all, I don't appreciate the use of the R word. You're gonna get this channel shut down. The R word. And I know Sobers doesn't appreciate it. He goes, listen, I'm part of the R word trifecta, the demographic. No, I'm kidding, Sobers. I'm kidding. No, but wait a minute.
I was personally affected by that.
Nah, I'm kidding. But FST, I don't get it. You calling me a conspiracy theorist because I'm saying Lomachenko was hated?
You're saying that because, well, actually, sorry for bogging down the debate. I
okay. So just long story short, because we got other stuff to get to. You're saying that you disagree with me that Lomachenko was hated.
Was he hated? Yes. Was he one of the most hated?
Okay, there you go.
Definitely
that's all I
not.
need to hear. That's it. I don't understand why you call me a conspiracy theorist because I'm saying he's hated. I mean, anybody. If I don't know where you were 5 years ago. I don't know if you were following the YTBC at the time.
I was following the sport.
Yeah, but I don't know if you were following the YTBC, which is different from following the sport. The YTBC has had a lot of people that were.
I've seen this. I've seen the social media shit since 2013. I think when I started watching YouTube channels. So no, I know it very well.
Then that makes it even more baffling that makes it even more baffling that you disagree with me. I think you're just doing this to provoke me today. Here, but I mean that's hey, listen, that's part of the show.
I'm not.
I think you're a little bit. I think you're a little bit. I think you should be a little bit. Like I said, I think you should be more open and unfiltered about that. But listen, I appreciate that because it makes the show more interesting. Be that as it may.
BDA, could I? Sorry.
What are you going to anyway? So go ahead.
I was just going to ask you: will you do a show going through Loma's resume and where he ranks? Because I'd love to do that.
Nah. Oh yeah, you know what? Maybe
okay.
Yeah, maybe later on this evening. We'll try. Maybe if we do a second show, maybe we could do that because I'm pretty sure if we title that video like Lomachenko's legacy, what was it, or something like that, you're gonna get a lot of. I mean, you're gonna get a lot of the people that I'm talking about showing up, and it's just gonna strengthen my argument. I mean, if you just look at the comments on Twitter of people when people say, "Does Lomachenko make it to the Hall of Fame or not?" and you see some of these comments, kind of prove my point. About the hate Lomachenko gets.
I saw the same thing when Floyd Mayweather retired. People were talking about his. I mean, people still go on about Floyd's resume and want to say how he didn't do anything great. So it's all. I
gotta tell you though, with Lomachenko, with Mayweather, I never saw people calling him a white pink stuff, the pink guy, the Caucasoid, the cave dweller. I never saw people calling Mayweather that. Saw it with Lomachenko though, and Lomachenko was less abrasive and toxic and caustic than Mayweather, who certainly gave people plenty of reasons to dislike him. But for some reason, he didn't get that much dislike. I mean, he got his share of dislike, but never to the vitriol that Lomachenko got. When you consider Lomachenko didn't give people a reason to dislike him, so it's just weird, man. It's just weird that you're refusing to acknowledge that. I do gotta wonder. You say you go to a lot of shows. I wonder if maybe those people are swaying your opinion a little bit here. You should be your own man, FST. Don't let other people sway your opinion. I'm glad you're sort of disagreeing with me. It's your right to do so, but I don't know if you're doing it for the correct Christian reasons. But that's just my my feeling on the scene here. Listen, this Saturday we've got another fight coming up, lightweight fight. And I'm talking about Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin de los Santos. Interesting fight. But guys, I dislike the fact that de los Santos has been out of the ring since November 2023. And then, like I said on Monday's show, turns out he was out of commission because of a blood clot. So you got to figure maybe he got the jab or something, and that's why he's got the blood clot. So now he's probably on blood thinners. He said that he was he coined it as being back from the dead. I don't know if he was speaking literally or figuratively. Be that as it may, taking on a guy who's quick, who can hit hard. I don't know. Is this fight as appetizing as it could have been a year ago?
Not as much as if we didn't know. If we didn't know this about De Los Santos, then I'd be a lot more hyped for it. But yeah, I really don't know what to make of this because, I mean, you have a blood clot. The idea of you fighting again is beyond ludicrous. This actually did happen recently in MMA. People don't know. A fighter called Vicente Luque, who has been in the wars, he was diagnosed with a similar injury, and he fought not too long after that, and he's still fighting now. So I don't know how serious it is. I want to believe it's not that serious, but you never know. He's talking about De Los Santos. He's big, he's strong, he's aggressive, he's basic, he's limited, so this should be an easy fight for Keyshawn Davis. The one question I have is if De Los Santos can take Keyshawn's punches, how is Keyshawn going to deal with when he gets hit back? Because Keyshawn still, even though he's officially a champion, we still look at him as a prospect because he's never been challenged. And if there's one thing about De Los Santos, he's got a decent punch to him, but he's washed up. He's been out of the ring for so long. This injury, I just don't know what to make of it. But with that being said, Keyshawn's defense is not good. I got a lot of slack from people when I see Keyshawn's defenses. Like, I still think Andy Cruz beats him at this stage if they fight. But yeah, I'm somewhat interested because Keyshawn's the future of the sport. But as far as this fight, it just looks like a stay busy fight for me.
Why do you refer to Keyshawn Davis by his first name, by the way? You know the guy?
No.
He was calling him Key, wasn't he?
He was calling him, Mikey. He was calling him Mikey, the best key. No, but this fight has an asterisk next to it. I have to assume, or I like to think that the commissions are gonna allow De Los Santos to fight because they've cleared him health-wise. Then again, commissions, they do things for the money too. This is a business, so maybe it's a 50-50 chance that he doesn't crumble to the ring and drop dead in the middle of the fight. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But hey, De Los Santos is young, by the way. He's still in his early 20s too. He looks older. I don't know if they lie about their ages over there in the Dominican Republic, but like they do in Cuba. But hopefully the best we can hope for is that the layoff didn't affect him, the blood clot didn't affect him, and that he can actually make it an interesting fight. But I suspect Keyshawn Davis is going to do, seeing how his buddy, Shakur Stevenson, fought De Los Santos and really exposed the fact that even though, Shakur Stevenson was running like a rabbit or leaping like a rabbit, it still showed that De Los Santos doesn't really know how to press. And so I think that's what Keyshawn Davis is going to do. He's going to be very economical, very reserved. He's going to want to make De Los Santos make the first move and see where it goes from there. Hopefully it turns into a firefight, because one thing De Los Santos does have is speed and power. And even if his timing is off, if he makes it a firefight, that power could play a factor into this equation.
I agree. And when I said he's washed up, I mean the circumstances, like his health and being out of the ring for this long. Like, I just have a feeling Keyshawn's going to look, and plus you mentioned it perfectly, BDA, this guy cannot cut off the ring whatsoever. So I just feel like this is going to be, I was hoping, of course, like everyone, that we were going to see Keyshawn fight someone who may test him, but I just think this is going to, I don't know if we're going to learn anything different about Keyshawn after this fight. Maybe this is my ideal scenario. He gets through unscathed, like all of his fights, and they can schedule a unification with Muratalla now that he's the full champion immediately afterwards.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Interesting that you brought up Muratalla. By the way, this fight is taking place in Virginia, which is Keyshawn Davis' home state. And from what I understand, the fight is doing pretty well. Wow, what a revelation, right, guys? That if you score knockouts, people are going to want to see you, particularly at a home level, like at a home state level. Wow, who would have thought, huh? that knockouts trump running around the ring for 12 rounds and then jumping on the turnbuckle at the end, beating your chest like you're King Kong, like as if you actually accomplished something. Who would have thought? Knockouts are special that way. By the way, Virginia, this fight taking place in Virginia, I heard, I was reading one of the periodicals there, local periodicals. They talked about a guy who got ejected from the press conference for drunk and disorderly behavior, and apparently the guy was screaming about Pernell Whitaker's low blows. So, boxing chief, I hope you didn't. I hope that you sobered up in county jail overnight, and hopefully you cut back on the drinking there, boxing chief, because that ain't right. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. That there was a press conference, like I mentioned earlier, and this press conference got kind of interesting because Keyshawn Davis, like I said, he's from the school of his friend Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson and Bomac, his trainer. They love to jaw. A lot of jawing, a lot of talking, even when it's unnecessary. I understand that you got to sell the fight, but this didn't even really have much to do with his fight against Los Santos. It involved another fighter who's also fighting on the card, and that is prospect extraordinaire Abdullah Mason. Check this out.
Will be heard, and what will be heard is and the new, and it's going to be something big. That's going to be
Hold on, let me fast forward here.
problem. I had a blood clot in my.
I wouldn't say that, but yeah,
That's
man.
the position that you want.
It's really is not.
By the way, Keyshawn Davis right there, you can see his attire. He's wearing some sort of, what looks to be some sort of a rug. And he's got the glasses on. I think this is about the second or third time he's been doing that. He's trying to look like Urkel a little bit. He's branded himself as the businessman. Sobers, what do you think is going on here? Is this a deliberate move on his part to sort of try to appear not just as a boxer who makes a living hitting people over the head, but also some sort of a mover and shaker in the business world?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what it looks like to me. He looks like a sexual predator. That's how Bill Cosby used to dress. So I wouldn't trust anybody walking around looking like that.
Are you saying he'd fit right in with another YTBC star who's got a penchant for getting into fights with people in the prison shower? Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. He likes to keep his ass against the wall, and he just gets in there. He gets in it.
And man, I got myself some pussy, man. Shit. But you know what? It's interesting that you're right about the glasses, man. Those are serial killer glasses right there. It just makes him look more unhinged because we know he's unhinged. He admitted that he spent time at a home. We don't even know what. You know, he's talking about Teofimo Lopez dodging this and dodging that. Meanwhile, this guy spent time in a home. I don't know if Lopez ever spent time locked up in the loony bin. So it is interesting that this guy is. If you would have told me, yeah, this guy was getting electroshock therapy and getting medicated and restrained by orderlies, I would, and just by looking at him, I would have said, yeah, of course, makes sense. Let's see what we got. These guys had to say. That's Abdullah Mason on the left, by the way. Looks Nigerian, by the way.
Than me, like I knew I was a world champ coming into this sport. You know what I'm saying? Like a title is just put the icing on the cake, but I know who I am with or without the belt. I'm the businessman, and I put on great fights. I put on great performances. DB3 sold out the scope last.
See, that's undeniable. He does put on great performances, which, by the way, some people have criticized me for, come on, BDA, he's supposed to put on great performances. He's so much bigger than his opponents. The guy's basically a junior middleweight in there. True, but how many junior middleweights do we see run around the ring like they're fighting Roberto Duran? So in a way, yeah, that's how low the bar's been set. But at the end of the day, I appreciate knockouts either way. But anyway, let me fast forward here because this is just Keyshawn Davis rambling. All right, here we go.
God.
Yeah, I came and I showed out. Norfolk loved it. It was a crazy performance. It went crazy for the boxing community. The whole fight was circulating around. For the next few weeks or so. So
My goodness, hold on. Let me fast forward because they're doing a lot of joking. Okay, here we go.
Right there.
Is this man that's licking his chops while he stares at you one of those guys?
By the way, yeah, apparently Keyshawn Davis was licking his lips as he was staring at Abdullah Mason, which is kind of, we go back to the whole put your ass against a shower wall type of thing. See who walks out.
Number two, we got somebody else ahead of me. I'm right there. Right there.
Is this man that's licking his chops while he stares at you one of those guys?
Absolutely.
So what you want to do?
I'm working my way up. I'm right here.
So after you beat him, what you want to do?
All right, can I just ask right off the why is Keyshawn Davis so agitated right off the bat? Like this guy talked about his mother or something.
Well, I think Keyshawn is. Oh, do you want to go, Sobers?
I was gonna say he's just trying to press him. Abdullah Mason's a little bit younger, not as tested. He's already shown a little bit of vulnerability. He's not at the world level yet, right? I think everyone knows that. So Keyshawn is trying to catch himself a wet fish. He's a little guppy, and he's pressing him, and probably Abdullah Mason knows that it might be a little bit too early for him, but he's trying to like keep his composure. So it's just Keyshawn Davis trying to big brother him. You know what I mean? Like he's just trying to pick on a young cat.
He's like a top bunk silly type of thing going on.
Yeah, exactly. So Wednesday nights, I usually wash my underwear. So you want it right now or later?
Come on. What the fuck? Go ahead, FSD. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna.
Don't make it sexual, please. Don't make it sexual, please.
It looks like Keyshawn's trying to big brother the new kid on the block. The problem is that he's just not very good at it. Now, I will say this: I think Keyshawn talks pretty well, but I mean, I find most trash talk to be pretty lame. So I don't really give a crap who what you say. I just want to make sure you're a good fighter. But I think Keyshawn is trying to send a subtle message, and I think Abdullah Mason knows in the back of his mind, if I have a poor defense like I did against was that guy who dropped him? I've had a mind blank, sorry, but maybe I'll probably get knocked out. So yeah, it's all just fun and games. But one thing about Keyshawn is that I will say this, he's better. He seems to be a more fluid talker than somebody like Teofimo or even Devin Haney. I find both those guys to be pretty terrible talkers. So yeah, it is what it is.
Well, there you go. FST doesn't appreciate Keys. That's what he called him, Key. He doesn't appreciate Keys trash talking. He's trying to sell the fight, but again, this has nothing to do with the actual fight on Saturday, De Los Santos. He's trying to press Abdullah Mason, and it's kind of cringe, like you guys are saying.
Yeah, do you guys remember?
We could do whatever. I'm pretty sure my team could put anything together.
Are you gonna put it together, sir?
Are you? And then he goes with the sir. Again, this is his new sort of courtroom business persona, sir. I hate when people say that. No, you're the one, sir. Like in debates, I've heard people do that on YouTube, sir. I was like, oh, come on, you're trying too hard to be cordial when we know the adrenaline is already spiking because you can't handle a boxing talk. But are you gonna set it up? Like, does this asshole think Abdullah Mason is sitting down and propping up a 40-page contract himself? Like he's a law student? What's wrong with this dude?
Well, he's just. I think again, then they're not naturally. They don't naturally hate each other. Like this is what it reminds me of. I almost want to see Jamel Charlo get back into the ring with Tony Harrison and have a trilogy because those guys hated each other. And I know Jamal Charlo was mostly talk during his career, but Jamel, as much as we clown him for being angry all the time, he's naturally, that's who he is. So these guys, it's all just, the fight's not going to get made. Top Rank's not going to put a guy who is technically a champion but really still a prospect up against a real prospect who's about as green as he could be. It's not going to happen. So it's all just BS.
Well, it's not going to happen yet. You never say never. But down the line, guys. Yeah.
Well, can I say this, BDA? I say it never happens at lightweight because Keyshawn's not going to stay there for much longer. Surely. Yeah,
you've said that before. If FST has gone the record, and I quote, Key is going to be moving up pretty soon. So yeah, I agree with that. He's too big.
Yo, BDA.
Yes.
Is this a call-in show?
We're going to be opening up the phone lines very, very soon.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say if it was, I was looking at the screen. I didn't see the number, but all right, yeah.
Yeah. Good looking out. Like I said, it's the last time I opened up the phone lines. I guess maybe because it was too early. No one's calling in. I think most people are just listening. But we're gonna be opening up the phone lines, especially when it gets hot and spicy. But I just want to finish up this video here because it's already getting a little bit more intense later on.
I'm pretty sure my team could put anything together.
Are you gonna put it together, sir? You the man in there.
I don't want to talk to you right now,
I
Sir?
bet you don't.
but I'll let my hands do the talking.
Like he's acting like he actually wants something. Oh yeah, you don't want to talk to me. I want. Like, why would Abdullah Mason? Abdullah Mason looks like the type of kid who just wants to go back to his room, play video games, stare at the wall. He's not interested in going back and forth like this spastic. I mean, who knows what type of medications Keyshawn Davis is on to keep him from snapping on people? You can tell he wants to snap on people. I don't understand why he's acting like he accomplished something here.
I don't know. I think Keyshawn is just enjoying talking a lot. I mean, I don't think these guys who talk like this actually care about what they say. I think as long as enough words come out of my mouth, then there'll be headlines.
Well, I mean, Abdullah
That's all it
Mason
is,
said
right?
all Abdullah Mason said is that he's interested in the fight, and Keyshawn Davis goes off on him. I think that's taking it personal. I don't think he's enjoying himself all that much.
Well, okay. Well, I don't think Keyshawn actually cares a lot. I mean, Abdullah Mason to me looks like a kid who knows he's not ready for the big boys yet.
Sorry about that.
What's up, fight fans?
I was trying to prop up another video. Yeah, you don't think? Well, Sobers, what do you think? Do you agree with FST?
Yeah, I thought I already said that. I just hear FST repeating everything I already said, but I'm just being polite and not saying anything about it.
What? Wait. Are you saying he's stealing your takes? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm saying he doesn't have an original thought in his head.
Ah, come on. No.
It is with PBC shows.
It's too early in the morning for this.
Take the title.
Hold on a second. Okay, so I think we're almost done with this clip here.
So
let's
anything
do it
you want
next.
to do?
Let's do it next.
Okay, I'm pretty sure my team accommodates.
No. Let me and you. Let's make it happen
No.
right now in front of everybody. After I knock De Los Santos out, after you knock this opponent out, me and you. Let's fight next. Let's do it.
That's what I'm here for.
You here to fight me next?
He said that's what I came for.
That's a bet.
Okay, so Keyshawn Davis doesn't want to. He didn't appear too hyped up to fight Lopez, but he wants to fight this guy next. The guy that he even. And then check this out.
Okay, so maybe not the Carl. Are you still Carl?
Hey, Bob Arum. Bob,
Carl,
you ready? Bob, you ready? Bob Arum, the man with the player right there. The man with the players right there. Bob Smiley, he like it.
Can somebody get him?
You
a
go
mic?
get him hurt, Bob. You go get him hurt.
We're matchmaking up here, so add that to my credentials, okay?
Hey, Pops, where you at, Pops? You walking him into something
Relax,
crazy now.
Thor. It's not about you.
I mean, he's just having fun, I guess. That's the way some people could interpret it. I'm looking at
Well, it's his show, right? He's the main event.
Right.
Let's say
So he's just feeling himself a little bit. He's just trying to make it about him. Oh, you gonna get him hurt, Bob? You gonna get him hurt? Remember when they were trying to
What's that
they were
impersonation?
trying to promote this?
What was that impersonation? You gotta get rid of it.
But I was gonna say, remember when they were trying to have him up there like the Avengers? They had Garrett Anderson, Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson. When they were promoting them all simultaneously, and those days are over. They're not really promoting Jared. Stevenson's gone, so all they got now is Davis. So they're treating him like, he's a champ right there, and I'm sure they're kissing his ass. So he's just having fun. He's feeling himself,
Mm-hmm.
You don't get hurt, Bob. You don't get hurt.
Yeah, he's talking like he's got cotton balls in his mouth or something.
He's got balls in his mouth, yeah.
I thought he was maybe going to go the WBC route, and it would be for a unification.
You walking into something crazy, Pops. You know it. He usually talk.
Well,
quiet
y'all
now.
both have business to take care of.
All right, so now you can see Abdullah Mason handling it well there. He's not even going back and forth. Like if this was Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney, or they'd be going, how many followers do you have on Instagram? How many money? You ain't even touch a mill yet. You ain't even touch a mill yet. That type of talk. Was that?
Oh man, I just that line was so terrible. Like Devin Haney, I liked when he walked up to Teofimo and he said on the zone, and he said he is not going to do a motherfucking thing. And then Teo says, "Look, you're just famous because you talk about me all the time." And he says, "Well, I've got more followers than you." Man, that was one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I mean, these people are obsessed with the social media thing. But the fun wasn't over here. Check this out. Then him and De Los Santos started stirring down, and this is what happened.
Now, kid.
That's just Keyshawn having fun there. That's just him. He's not rattled up. He's not riled up. I mean, if it would have been the first time that he acted that way, I'd be like, okay. But remember, he was getting into it with Baranchyk too. There's allegations that either him or someone in his team faked the whole fruit basket thing. Remember Fruitgate? And he starts, he started acting like Jussie Smollett. That's what it seemed like, that whole situation. Now he's getting into it here with Abdullah Mason. He's putting his hands on De Los Santos, basically assault, bordering on sexual assault, by the way. And I'm thinking, what is it with him and everybody from that Bomac stable that they just love to jaw, they love to talk and scream, they love to push, they look to show? What is that? That's
just competitive nature for you. It's how they roll, as they say. That's
how they roll.
They're competitors.
But okay, would you say Usyk is a competitor? Would you say Usyk is a competitor?
Yeah, well, everyone's not like Usyk.
Would you say Inu is a competitor?
Of course, but
okay, Bam Rodriguez, Junto Nakatani, Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol. You don't see them and then pushing each other in the face-offs and stuff like that. I understand competitive nature, but why is it that people from the Bomac stable in specific love to engage in this type of behavior? I understand you got to sell the fight, but you don't see everyone doing this to sell the fight.
Well, no, I think it's just those particular guys as competitors. I mean, again, talking about Americans here. What?
Sorry, I stubbed my toe.
No. Andre Ward.
What about Andre Ward? What?
Somebody else. Andre Ward was American, and he was as calm as it could be when it came to stare downs. Guys like Carl Froch and Tyson Fury, they're Brits who were, a lot like this, similar-ish to the Charlos. So, as far as Bomac's stable, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's anything to do with Bomac. I think it's just those guys like to they like to be aggressive in the face-offs. That's all it is.
Do you like that? Do you like fighters who do that, who jaw a lot, talk a lot, push their opponents?
No, because I tune in to see fights, so I don't really give a shit about trash talking, and I can't think of a trash talker I actually would play back, see what they would say. I couldn't care less. Like, if anybody, it would actually give me a reason to stop watching press conferences if everybody just did the Alexander Usyk type of strategy. So I don't care about talking.
But you're saying it's just their competitive nature. You don't see, but you do see something wrong with it.
I don't see anything wrong with it. It's like, if that's.
But if you don't see anything wrong with it, why do you dislike it then?
Because I tune in to see fights. I don't tune in to see.
Okay, so there is something wrong with it then. There is something wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Then how can you dislike? Like, listen, if you eat an apple and it's sour, you go, oh, there's something wrong with the apple. You don't go, well, I mean, I don't care about the apple. It's just you do care about it because you find it sour tasting. There's something wrong with it.
Put it this way, BDA. This guy's been retired for a long time, but I've rewatched.
Oh, come on! What did I tell you about the R word?
I've rewatched the press conferences.
He said he's a retired. Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
I've rewatched the.
I don't know with FST anymore. The guy's unhinged. Well, go ahead.
I've rewatched the press conferences of Paulie Malignaggi and Adrian Broner several times, but that's once in a blue moon for me. Most trash talk couldn't care less.
All right. So I mean, you didn't get any closer to explain to me how you dislike it, but you don't think there's anything wrong with it. So, but anyway, listen, we'll leave it at that. What?
Yeah. Go ahead. Moving on.
All right. Now, interestingly enough, Abdullah Mason, people caught up with Abdullah Mason, this from Fight Hub, and to ask him about the altercation with the unhinged Keyshawn Davis.
Matt B. Stucker here with the powerful Abdullah Mason. Abdullah, wild press conference. We got a handshake deal. with Keyshawn Davis. If you get past his fight,
By the way, Abdullah Mason looks so lost in this video. He looks like I don't think he understands the concept of these YouTube boxing channels that they got. That's what they do. They accost you in the lobby, in the bathroom, and then they start asking you questions for content and for views. He doesn't seem to understand this. He actually seems quite jarred at the situation. Like he thinks the cameraman is going to attack him or something.
tell me your thoughts about what went down.
There's no handshake deal, but you know, he said he wanted to fight me next, and see how it works. Yeah, we definitely see how it works. I'm ranked number 2, so either way, I'm right there for that title.
You know, is there any animosity with Keyshawn, because it got pretty heated at the press conference there?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was heated. You know, there's no animosity on my part, but I don't know how
Hey, look at that. There's Jake Paul in the background making a cameo.
Nice.
he feels, you know, but you could tell that he felt like he had to say something first, so he felt the pressure, you know, me coming up right behind him.
You think you're in it? Oh boy, that escalator almost just killed me.
How awful a job must this be, by the way, for this type of like so-called reporters that you got to be. I mean, I appreciate that what they do because they give us content where, you know, maybe if once in a blue moon they can extract something interesting from a boxer or a current boxer. But this dude almost like he has to be. Look at this. He's following Mason around the lobby, asking him. You can tell that Mason wants to get as far away from this guy as possible. This dude has to chase him, ask him questions, see if something interesting can happen. He almost kills himself in the escalator. Like
one more champ. One more champ.
Yeah, that's what they do. One more champ. The worst is when the guy clearly doesn't want to talk to them. He's almost running away from them, and these guys are chasing him. Shakur, are you gonna fight Tank Davis? Are you gonna fight Tank Davis? Like, oh man, it's what a job.
Well, we can all.
I'm glad you brought that up. Hold on. I'm glad you brought that up, BDA, because isn't that what Southpaw Lefty was bragging about doing? For free
Nah, come on. Nah. You can leave Lefty Southpaw alone.
You the best.
Just a quickie. That's what they call it now, a quickie. One quickie. FST, you were gonna say something?
We can thank. Yeah, I was going to say we can thank charlatans like Ellie Sekbak for
come on,
popularizing this kind of.
Pull it with the anti-Semitism, bro.
Listen. Yeah, yeah. What's with the anti-Semitism? Well, come on, FST. You know, he's trying to distract us from the fact that New Zealanders actually are the ones that run the world. They control the banks. They control the entertainment industry. They got people compromised on all sorts of salacious details.
Is there?
Look at Abdullah Mason. He didn't even give two shits that the guy almost killed himself. He's just walking away. Could you drop dead already?
You think you're in?
He almost got sucked into the escalator.
Hey, I saw a video like that once. That's fucking scary shit, man.
Because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean,
Wait, hold on. What they ask him? We were making fun of the guy. What did he ask?
you think you're in his head at all? Because
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, I ain't had to say a word. I'm sitting there. You know, I'm sitting there enjoying my time, waiting to fight Nakatila, and you know, he called me out.
See, this is a guy that was enjoying his time on the stage. He didn't have, he was just quiet, taking it all in. No pun intended. Keyshawn is the guy that's all over the place, spastic. Like, again, I don't know what they did to him at the home, but clearly they didn't do enough to sap his energy. Was that?
Oh, Keyshawn's just a guy who, again, loves to talk. I don't think he really processes what he's saying. I think he just wants to say as many words as he can. So
he doesn't process what he's saying. Wow, that sounds healthy. He doesn't sound unhinged at all. A guy that just
I'm just saying he's a guy who loves to talk. That's all. That's all it is. I just don't think it's.
Manson, the cult leader from the 1960s. What was his first name again? I can't believe I'm forgetting. He liked to talk too. Charles Manson. Thank you, Charles Manson. Yeah, Charles Manson liked to talk a lot.
How did we get into this?
Well, you say he likes to talk a lot.
By the way, when I was
Charles Manson likes to talk a lot too. He used to like to talk. He's dead now. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, I guess so.
May he rest in peace.
Well, I gotta be politically correct.
When I was talking about bad reporters earlier, since who are upset by my comments about Sekback. I mean, there's other guys as well. Fred from Barbershop, Michelle Joy Phelps. These people popularize dumb questions. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, he has dumb questions, and like you always bring up every time a fighter gets criticized, you always bring up other fighters. Like, well, everyone gets criticized, everyone. So that's the same thing with Ali Sekback. That's how you defend Ali Sekback. Yeah, we can defend him by just saying, well, everybody has dumb questions. We can move on now. There's no need to criticize Ali Sekback. Right, FST?
Okay.
Right. But that's what you do every time somebody like, hey, this dude ran over a pregnant woman. Well, every fighter out there does things wrong. They're just human beings. They box for a living.
That's not
what fighter hasn't run over a pregnant woman?
Exactly. Who amongst us hasn't run over a pregnant woman and then left her bleeding as she's pleading for help?
By the way, on that, I still get criticized on my channel for criticizing John Jones for doing the same thing.
Well, by the way, John Jones, it turns out, is into the homo stuff. That's what John McCartney recently said. I don't know if it's true. I don't want to believe that story because that is disturbing, man. But we're not going to get into that because this is an MMA channel and this is in FST's already brought out enough weird sexual energy on the shows that I got to curtail it somehow or at some point. All right. Now, this is interesting because, like I said, the whole Davis clan is going to be fighting on that Saturday card. This was a weird thing. Check this out.
And of DB3, but that's no longer, right? You back here on a big...
That's Keon Celsius Fahrenheit over there on the far left with the raggedy jeans. And check this out. This takes a weird turn.
Big card with your brothers. How does it feel to see and to feel your star continuing to rise the way that it has, these last 6 months or so?
With me, I'm just taking it slow, taking it all in one day at a time.
Taking it slow, taking it all in, taking it one day at a time. Taking. He likes to take a lot. Very selfish.
Step by step. Not trying to rush the process.
Like he's just saying whatever. Hey, FST, you talked about Keyshawn not having a thought process before he speaks. This guy's just throwing that words out there like he's doing an a cappella.
Step by step.
What's that?
I was just going to say, I agree with you. I mean, all of these, I'm not really paying attention to the other brothers aside from Keyshawn, but
come on.
They all seem to be, they all seem to be people who are just, and I see this a lot with boxers these days and MMA fighters. They have the pre-rehearsed scripts. I don't know if it's because everyone's got a camera these days in their hands. And so interviews happen like almost every second, but fighters, they just seem to process of being like, okay, script for every question, and like nothing seems authentic anymore. That's just my opinion. But the Davis brothers, again, they all seem to do this. They all seem to just say, well, I don't really care what I say. I'll just say a bunch of words and on to the next one.
It also seems like he's trying to upstage his brother in terms of wearing ridiculous glasses. And he does look like a serial killer in that one too, by the way. Sobers is gonna superimpose that. Sobers gonna superimpose that picture on a mugshot or something. You wait and see.
I think they're trying to look smart or something, or what's going on?
Yeah, I don't think they really need glasses, man. By the way, I'm pretty sure there's not even a lens on those glasses.
There's no lenses.
Yeah,
there's no lenses.
Not trying to rush the process. I'm just taking it all in.
He's not rushing the process, and he's taking it all in. He's trying to fit it all in. All right, hold on. What's going on here? FST, could you please stop playing sound effects? Please stop playing sound effects, man, because I'm trying to talk here, and you're interrupting with the sound effects. Let's keep hearing what you have to say here.
Would you like to go? Do you have a question for Keyshawn Davis?
Yo. All right, for sure. All right, this you gotta go way back for this one. So, when we used to go to school together in West Potomac High School, and we was always together every single day, skipping school and stuff like that. Sorry, Marvy. How did it feel when I left you alone?
Okay, this is turning into The Wire. It's like Boys in the Hood or something. Remember when we remember where we came from? Remember when we used to get every day was a struggle.
When we was gangbanging in the hood and you shot little Johnny and you got hit in the leg and I had to leave you behind.
Little Johnny, little JJ. That's usually one of those nicknames, right?
Yeah.
And every time they say little to some, they give the nickname little to someone. It's because it's a fat guy. That's always the joke, right?
Yeah, when Lil J got killed in that drive-by, and I had to leave you there at the hospital so I wouldn't catch any charges.
Ah, come on, man. What the charges? What? I mean, dude, yeah, what is this turning into, man?
Hey, BDA.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we need Shannon Briggs to turn up and to make these press conferences interesting. You guys are making me rethink it. Okay, we need to resurrect Muhammad Ali. We need to bring Shannon Briggs in. We need to bring Adrian Broner or Paulie Malignaggi. Something to make these. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we need to make these press conferences.
Could you please stop playing sound effects, FST? I'm trying to listen to you, man. FST, are you still there, man? What's going on?
I'm here. None of those sound effects were coming from my end.
Oh, well, that's your version. But go ahead.
I feel like
All
I'm
right.
just getting made fun of this entire time, but let's move on.
All right. Well, listen, I'm trying to give you a chance to talk here. Listen, I'm contrary to you. I am interested in seeing the Davis brothers fight because who is it? Kelvin or Fahrenheit? He's taking on Nahir Albright, and that's a pretty good boxer right there. Solid boxer. And by the way, we didn't even mention the fact that Abdullah Mason is taking on Nakatila, who is still a dangerous guy. Just because what's his name, Murataya and Tito Mercado knocked him out or stopped him doesn't mean he still can't crack.
Could I mention
Yeah,
one thing?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Sobers.
I was gonna say, what's his name got not in his last fight, but the fight before he got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So someone like Nakatila could actually be a good test for him because, we're out here questioning his chin. I know I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting matchup. He's trying to challenge himself. It looks like he wants to get in there with the puncher.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say that. I mean, Abdullah Mason. Whether he's got a chin problem or not, what he has got is he's got heart. I mean, he's got that Adrian Broner. I mean, I'm not Adrian Broner. Aaron Pryor get up, kill attitude when he gets hit. This guy Nakatila, I don't think he's going to win, but he's a pretty decent long range boxer. Like I know he looked flat against Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur does that to everybody. So if he's able to keep his chin tucked and not stick it out in the air like he wants to get hit, then I think we could see Abdullah Mason potentially in trouble. Sorry, what?
FST, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, but if he doesn't stand there and give head, I mean, come on, you're playing with me, man. Now you're really
wait a second. Wait a second. I said stick his chin up in the air
and give head. You said. Sobers, am I crazy here, or is he playing with me?
I think he's trolling you.
I think a little bit, FST. No, but I get your point, though. I get your point about.
For the audience, I have not said a single sketchy thing this entire stream. People just want to make fun of me, but
nah.
I'm not even looking at the chat, guys. Okay, just what do you want to talk about? I was just saying. I think this is a fight where Abdullah Mason could get challenged because of his poor defense, and Nakatila, he's got decent speed. So I'm really looking forward to that fight. I'm glad you brought it up.
Well, listen, I don't know about him being like Aaron Pryor just quite yet in terms of the fire that he has. But I do appreciate the fact that this new class of this new generation of American fighters are actually trying to cause some damage. I'm glad that the Floyd Mayweather school of boxing is sort of on the wayside now, and that this new generation actually wants to go out there. I mean, look at like I said earlier, look at Keyshawn Davis. He's actually generating buzz because he's scoring knockouts. And that's something that's sort of been unseen in America for a while now, to the point where if an American prospect scores knockouts, all of a sudden it sets the world on fire. It's like, whoa, can you believe this guy's stopping people? So I'm glad we're getting Abdullah Mason and Keyshawn Davis, guys who can actually crack and headlining this event, or actually featuring in headlining roles. Now, the other thing about Nakatila can still crack, so it's still a risk. It's a risky fight for Abdullah Mason. The other thing is this: going back to Keyshawn Davis, it's interesting because he was talking about the belt on stage, but then he had this to say in regards to a Murataya fight, and some people are giving him flack for it. But let's see what he had to say.
I'm not fighting Ray Muay-Thai. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay. Is it just because it's not an interesting
Why would
fight?
it's not an interesting fight. And why do I want to pay for another belt? I'm already paying for this joint. Why do I want to go fight for another belt that I got to pay for? If they're going to give it to me for free, then I'll fight Ray Muay-Thai. But if they want to give me that belt for free.
By the way, this looks like when you're seen in the subway where a guy comes up to you and just starts rambling. But just to recap what he's saying that he wouldn't want to fight Murataya. And if he would have just said, well, I don't want to because of the belt thing, that would have made sense. But the fact that he said, and due to the belt, that's where he sort of misspoke. But I got to tell you, I don't think he's I don't think it sounds that crazy. I hope and pray that more fighters start saying the same thing about the belts. Why are people so obsessed with the undisputed and the 4-belt era, where you know that as soon as you get them, they're going to strip you, number one. 4 belts also means more sanctioning body fees. And by the way, as long as you beat the best and you get that Ring Magazine belt, that goes a good long way to telling the fans that you are the best. So I'm kind of glad that he's throwing these sanctioning bodies under the bus. I'm not that happy of him saying he's never going to fight Murataya. I mean, speaking of docs and all that, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, where's the energy that he just had for Abdullah Mason, right? He was in Abdullah Mason's face talking about what's up, what you trying to do next fight? We trying to do that right now. And then when you're getting presented with another champion you can unify against, all of a sudden, why do I want to pay for another belt? Why would I want to be a unified champion? Mm-hmm. Why would I want to beat another world champion? Why would I want to do that when I could fight Abdullah Mason? Right? I'm never gonna fight Murataya. Why not? Why not, bro? Because he can knock you the fuck out? Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's just a weird thing to say. And by the way, go ahead, FSC. Go ahead.
Again, I think Keyshawn is just talking without really thinking about what he's saying. I mean, to me, it makes no sense. Why would you, Keyshawn's got to be bored at this stage. He's fighting these guys who can't hit back, which, by the way, I just remembered the last guy he fought somebody who actually gave him a fight was actually Nair Albright. Mm-hmm. So that fight against Kelvin Davis is actually going to be interesting. But yeah, I don't think Keyshawn's serious. Of course, why would you? Okay, undisputed 4-belt era, sanctioning fees. I agree with that. But at the same time, wouldn't you want the recognition of fighting somebody who can actually give you a fight? So, and plus, it's an easy fight to make. So yeah, I think Keyshawn's just talking nonsense. I think he's just. Again, I don't think Keyshawn actually thinks about what he says. I think he just says, he thinks to himself, I'm just going to perform well and I'm going to talk a bunch of shit and the media will latch on to something and that'll be that.
By the way, his brother in the back there actually kind of looks like a little bit disturbed. I'm pretty sure he's expecting Keyshawn Davis to go off and get physical at some point because he probably sees that. He's probably seeing that growing up all the time. It's when he starts talking and starts rambling and getting close to people, that's when you know he's going to try to bite their nose off or something like the penguin in Batman Returns. So let me just say what transpired here. The rest of it. By the way, shout out to Sargent for providing this video on the Discord.
And I ain't fighting him. Also, he got an IBF belt. That means I got to worry about weight. The day and
No. When you unify,
it's not that
correct.
That's why I still want to pay.
Sobers, what do you think about that? He said he seemed like he was afraid of the rehydration.
That rehydration with the IBF. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't want to touch that one, does he?
Very interesting. It seems like a whole 180. From the character that he was playing up on stage against, like I was saying, Abdullah Mason. A little young guy right there.
Like FST said, he doesn't think before he speaks. He just spews from the reptilian brain towards the mouth. Blah 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 blah.
Did you say his simian brain?
No, I said lizard brain, reptilian, the most primitive part of the brain where he gets incensed and he just has to tell people what he's feeling.
Pay for another belt, so
Tyson
it don't
Fury.
matter.
What's that?
was just going to say Tyson Fury was like this. I mean, he was a very animated fighter, and he would say the dumbest things ever. I mean, so dumb I don't even want to repeat them. So yeah, it's all just bluster from Keyshawn. I mean, I would believe the thing about the rehydration, but we've had so many guys who look like dead on arrival making weight. Guys like Danny Jacobs at middleweight, guys like Boots Ennis at welterweight. These guys fought for the IBF, and they fought for it more than once. So again, if the money's right, I'm sure Keyshawn will take the fight, regardless of what weight he has to make.
I don't know. He seemed pretty worried about the IBF rehydration clause. He was pretty adamant about that.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. You'd probably call him a liar.
Future.
You'd probably call him a liar, which sounds like what you're doing. But I think you're looking at his size. Yeah, I think it's going to be a concern.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call him a liar, BDA.
Well, it sounds like you're doing that, but
I would just say.
That was like exactly what you're doing.
And you guys are really trying to provoke me today.
Well, okay, but hold on, FST. You can't say. Listen, you can't say You can't make contradictory statements, and then when we point them out, like, oh, you guys are going after me. It's like, if I hear that from anybody else, I do the same thing.
Okay, well, I'm sure Keyshawn will think differently if he's offered enough money. That way.
Well, listen, keep on hoping. I like hope. Jonathan Lambarena, shout out to Jonathan Lambarena. He says, the businessman was acting like a hood booker yesterday. He needs to have that energy with Shakur. Yeah, I think Kur and Key are going to fight at some point. Maybe not in the ring even. Like I said, these are two volatile fellas. They might actually end up fighting in the streets. It might be street warfare. But we're going to get to that later. But shout out to Jonathan Lambarena, who, yeah, I mean, that's a fight that could have easily happened when they were both at Top Rank. But just for the record, Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson have said in the past that they don't want to fight each other and that they will never fight each other in the ring or anywhere else because they're brothers. And I'm not talking in the urban sense, that they really think that they are brothers and that they're not going to fight each other. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I think that's a bad move because I think there could be some financial interest in a potential fight between each other. But I just wanted to get to this real quick. More Keyshawn Davis. He's making the rounds. And like I said, he's actually building up a good following in Virginia, his home state, where he's going to be fighting. He's entertaining in the ring. And so he was on the Ariel Helwani show, and he had this to say about a potential Shakur Stevenson fight. Because again, you got to remember, for those that are unaware, he's fighting Edwin de los Santos, who terrified Shakur Stevenson back in 2023, one of Shakur Stevenson's worst performances, one of the worst fights ever, by the way, as well. And so now the comparisons are flying about, well, can Keyshawn Davis one-up his brother?
Your opponent on Saturday, Edwin de los Santos, his last fight was against Shakur Stevenson. It wasn't the best of fights, wasn't the most exciting of fights. Does a part of you want to, and that was a decision.
I like how these journalists have to be, again, they have to sugarcoat it. It wasn't the best of fights. Yeah, that's an understatement right there. It was one of the worst fights you'd ever seen. I've been watching this sport for a good long while, man. Almost 3 decades. All right.
Well, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
This guy, Ariel Helwani, doesn't know any boxing. He doesn't know boxing.
True.
He doesn't even know MMA.
Ariel Helwani's just well, yeah. Sober said it perfectly. Ariel Helwani is one of the most dishonest people in all of combat sports.
I mean, that's what I hear from him. People, I've actually heard people say that he's like the Eli Segbach of MMA. That's what I've heard some people say.
Exactly.
He's Ariel Helwani
with more power.
Other one is just a brainless charlatan who's... I can say a lot about him, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. He's a charlatan.
Does a part of you want to beat him decisively, stop him, so you could say, like, anything he can do, I can do better?
Nah, heck no. When I took this fight, it was nothing that had to do with nobody. I was just looking for opponents, and Edwin de los Santos called me out on the media, and I accepted his call out, honestly.
All right, so he was very adamant and quick to pull the trigger on that. Heck no, when they asked him about whether he's comparing himself to Shakur Stevenson. And I look at that. By the way, I'm not one of those YouTube guys that analyzes videos and let's look at this interrogation footage and read the body language. But you know, when a guy keeps looking side to side, that's very, there's that expression or that term, shifty-eyed, because it can denote sort of signal somebody who's being a little dishonest, not forthcoming.
So yeah, it don't got nothing to do with nobody. And when it comes to the businessman, I try to stop everybody, and that's what makes me excited.
So again, he describing himself in the third person as
BDA.
What's that?
He's one of the third person.
Yeah, he's one of the third persons, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would have hoped that they would have treated this at the home when he was locked up there, but evidently there's still remnants of them.
Comes to the businessman, I try to stop everybody, and that's what makes me excited. I don't go in there and try to box with you. I'm trying to stop you, honestly. In the
which, by the way, I can appreciate. I wish more fighters had that mentality.
Most high value fashion, in the most. I always tell people around me, like,
what?
I'm not a.
Wait, what? What happened?
We say he's always trying to have the most high value fashion.
No. I think no. Well, actually, wait, hold on. Let's see what he said.
I don't go in there and try to box with you. I'm trying to stop you, honestly. In the most high value fashion, in the
high value fashion. He said.
Most. I always tell people around me, like.
Yeah, Earl Stevens says he gave himself that nickname. Yeah, that never works, by the way. When you try to give yourself a nickname, it has to happen organically. It has to be other people. And it usually has to be a guy that just does it randomly. Like, if you're in the gym, you're wearing purple pants, and then all of a sudden a guy goes, hey, Purple Haze, that's good work on the bag. And then it just sticks, It's like it has to happen that way. You can't give yourself your own nickname. It doesn't work.
BDA, could I ask you one thing?
Absolutely.
Did you choose the name BDA for your channel, or did somebody else pick that out?
That was Bucho. Bucho, the co-creator of this channel. He came up with it.
Oh,
you can't.
go ahead.
You can't give yourself nicknames because then you come up with a stupid ass one like Never Sobers. Shit like that, you know what I mean?
That's why people call you Sobe now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's actually sticks now.
I came up with the name for my channel. But yeah, Keyshawn, he's chosen a
the name of your shit is just like 3 verbs,
All right.
Hey, that's true. You're right.
Yeah,
Fight, sports, talk. Yeah, you're right.
Fight, sport, talk.
Fight, sports, talk. Fuck, reproduce, shit. Yeah, it is. You know what it is like? You know what it's like? Fight, sports, talk is like one of those avant-garde poems. Video poems that people used to make in the late 80s where they put something on the screen and they just flash random words. Corruption, skill, corporations. Like what?
Matchmaking.
Trump. Yeah, that's a fair point. Again, Keyshawn he's every fighter wants to go into any title defense and think I'm going to one up whoever beat this guy, especially since I'm jumping the gun here, but he was the one that suggested out of nowhere that he will fight Keyshawn without any problems. So he's just I think this is him trying to build the fight, just whether he's good at it or not, whatever. Any promotion's good promotion.
Let's see what he had to say about that.
I'm not a fighter that like to take damage. I don't take no damage. So if I can go in there and make you miss and make you pay and stop you, it's perfect. It's perfecto.
What does this win get you? Where does it put you in the sweepstakes for big fights? The big money fights. Where does this put you?
Oh, every fight, I feel like it gives you a step closer.
This is why I would dislike interviewing active fighters or who have fights coming up, because these are the type of questions you're gonna ask them. It's like, where does this put you? It's like, how does he know? And then, or when they go, what does a win on Saturday mean for you? What do you think? He doesn't care about the win? Do you think, it's just, I win, so the guy's gonna play it off as too cool for school? It's like, win. Yeah, the win's okay. A win would be okay. Yeah, I would be fine with it. It's like, come on, man. Anyway, then afterwards they asked him about But by the way, yeah, that's what I wanted to get to is, look, we've seen Keyshawn Davis. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing Keyshawn Davis keeps saying. Honestly, it's just, I'm just looking forward to this fight. Honestly, I just like to score knockouts. Honestly, it's like anytime somebody says honestly way too much, combined with the shifty eyes, makes me very suspicious of what the person is saying. So that's just it right there. But also, I've said it before. I've gone on record saying that Keyshawn Davis and Shakur Stevenson are going to have a falling out, minimum. They're going to have a falling out at some point. And why do I say that? Because you see how Keyshawn Davis reacts to criticism. And you see, and we've been seeing for a while now, how Shakur Stevenson reacts to any type of criticism, any type of call out. You know, I was talking with Bucho about that, and I was saying, why does Shakur Stevenson, like when Tito Mercado said, I want that punk right there, and then look shout out to Sobers, he found this picture. This is Shakur Stevenson jawing back and forth with Tito Mercado. He didn't even try to get up into the ring, Shakur Stevenson. He didn't. I mean, instead of just playing it off and laughing, like, look at this asshole, he starts going at him, spazzing out. These guys take these call outs seriously. They take it personal. And I'm thinking, when you get this type of volatile people, you got Shakur Stevenson, who's, look at his face. Then you got Keyshawn Davis, who just recently got released from the home not that long ago. You know that there's going to be some strife between them. Anytime I hear people talking about, well, he my brother, man, he my brother, it's like you're laying it on too thick already. It sounds like you don't even believe that, and that's why you got to go that far and call yourself brother. So I don't know. All I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if they have a falling out, just like Zab Judah and Floyd Mayweather had back in the early days. They used to be best friends. They used to go clubbing together. Hopefully they didn't do. That's where they limited it at, not did all the things together. But and they ended up fighting each other. They ended up becoming enemies, and then they became friends again. But I don't know. Boxing and money, it tends to turn friendships into something different. So, what do you guys think? Would you be surprised if they end up fighting Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis?
Not at all. I think they'll definitely fight it. The only question is when, because I don't think Keyshawn's going to stay there much longer. And God knows if they... The big anomaly here is Tank. Like, can either of them get Tank Davis in the ring? Because that's the most money, but the hardest fight to make. And Shakur's probably not going to move up in weight. I think he's found his limit, at least for now. So they're going to fight if they can. If Keyshawn stays at the weight class, they're definitely going to fight. The only question is for how much and who will put up the most money. Will Turkey pull out his checkbook? And will Shakur get all sensitive again when Keyshawn starts going at him? Because, like you said, he doesn't like criticism at all. And that's going to be his way of promoting himself, responding to criticism in a very bitter way. So, yeah, but no, I never believed that they weren't going to fight forever. I've just felt as long as they stay undefeated and, build up good records, of course they'll fight because they're not blood brothers. So, yeah, it'll happen. It's just a matter of when.
You know what? I also wonder if Keyshawn Davis had a little bit of animosity, maybe a little extra tinge of extra animosity towards Mason, because Mason was asked not that long ago, hey, all this talk about fighters being friends and not fighting each other. What do you think about that? And Abdullah Mason said, as long as we're not blood related, anything goes. Anybody can get it. Something like that. I'm butchering the quote, but essentially he was saying, I'll fight anybody as long as it's not blood related. So I think he was sort of criticizing there that whole Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson bromance, as they like to call it nowadays, which I hate that term, by the way. But yeah, that's, it's, as long as look, boxing history is replete with friends beating the crap out of each other. Maurice Blocker and Simon Brown, Carlos Hernandez and Genaro Chicanito Hernandez, Johnny Tapia, Marco Antonio Barrera, Chris Burr, Jamil McCline. Friends will fight each other and then remain friends afterwards. These dudes, I don't think they can fight each other and remain friends afterwards because they take this whole boxing thing way too personal. It's not just a job. It's not just a sport. It's connected to their character. And if they lose, forget about it. I think they're going back to the home. One of them is going back to the home. Hey, fellas, don't forget to hit that like. Hit that like. We're gonna open up the phone lines soon. Listen, people gotta let us know if they want to call in. I'm not gonna open up the phone lines for nothing. So hit that like. We're at 55 likes right now. 5 more people hit that like. We get to 60, and then I will know that people want to call in. Otherwise, We can keep going here for a little while more, but people, you gotta let us know if you want to call in and got stuff to say. Let's keep. Yes.
I was gonna say, I don't think these two guys are ever gonna fight. I think they'll let people play. They'll let people play around with their names. Would you ever get in there with your brother Shakur Stevenson? Would you ever get in there with Keyshawn? Maybe you never know. That's my boy, but you never know. Money talks. Blah blah blah. Maybe for 150 million.
Oh.
Some stupid shit like that, and then they'll never get that number, and they'll just never fight.
I mean, it's definitely possible down the line. That's what they say, right? Down the line. I mean, anything's possible. You're right, Sobers.
Exactly.
They're gonna tease
I think
that so
at
much,
154, it would be the biggest fight in boxing in 5 years.
Yeah, they're gonna tease that. So they're gonna use that to their advantage to try to leverage as much money as possible. And by the way, Keyshawn Davis, I suspect he's gonna be the bigger star because he's gonna be the star rather. Shakur Stevens is not a star. But Davis is a star because he can crack at least. And I think he would end up doing Shakur Stevenson the favor. He's the one that's actually Shakur Stevens is going to be the one that ends up owing him because he's going to need a Keyshawn Davis type fighter going forward.
I'll put it this way. I mean, Sobers, I get what you're saying, but these guys. Here's the thing: the division's not very strong at the moment. Like, it's actually probably the weakest it's been in a very long time, given the talent we had before. So these guys are starved for big fights, and like I said, if one of them can get Tank Davis in the ring, they'll definitely take that first because that means big money, the biggest money for both of them. But if they can't do it, then again, these guys aren't bros for life. So somebody's going to offer enough money, i.e., Turkey or Eddie Hearn, to make the fight. So I don't think they'll be held up forever. It's they may not rush to make it, but money talks, and it is what it is. Like there isn't a bigger fight out there for both of them aside from Tank.
Well, speaking of Tank Davis, this is what Keyshawn Davis had to say about that. Check this out.
That controversy with the knee and the towel and the eye and all that stuff, how that was handled and how it played out.
I mean, Javante, he's running the show. It's his show, so it's hard for. I mean, at the end of the day, like he's a cash cow when it comes to 135 division. So like that's just what we see. He's running the show. It's gonna take somebody to really beat him up or somebody to knock him out for you to get that win. Obviously, because he's the cash cow. That's just how it go in boxing, which is not right. But shouts out to Lamont Roach, man.
All right, so you listen to that. He's saying Tank Davis is the cash cow, and so he's admitting that there's privilege in boxing. That if you're the A side, you gotta throw everything in the kitchen sink to even just get a draw. And it seems like he was a little hesitant to call that out, maybe because he already knows he's gonna be getting some of that A side privilege. I mean, he already got A side privilege. He already got A side privilege from the media when they acted like he was the victim of that whole fruit basket thing, when we don't even know if he himself did it or somebody from his team did it. There was no proof of, people started saying that Teofimo Lopez did it when there was no proof that he did it. So, I don't know. It's just weird how... Was that?
Well, Teofimo was suggesting openly that he did it. So he was really playing on people there.
How did he suggest that? I didn't see that. What did he say?
He posted some bullshit about suggesting that he had dropped the bananas off. So he was trying to get people to think that he had done it.
But why did he say in that statement?
I forget the words. I just remember he did try to provoke people to think that he had done it, but that just came to mind.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's the guy that's pulling out of a money fight against Evan Haney, so I don't really trust what he has to say when it comes to that, especially since there's no other evidence to suggest that he did it. But the point wasn't about Teofimo Lopez. It was about people actually tried to use this to paint Keyshawn Davis as the victim of Jussie Smollett type of attack when there was no evidence that he did it or Teofimo Lopez did it or that he, they tried to paint him as a victim for a fruit basket. That was ridiculous in and of itself. And so he's getting a little bit of A-side privilege right there. Now, Okay, so keep in mind, he says, well, that's the way it goes with Tank Davis. It's not right. He said the A side thing, it's not right. So he had to conclude it that way to make sure people knew that he's not okay with A side privilege. But then check this out. They asked him about Tank Davis potentially fighting Jake Paul, because that's a rumor that's been flying around.
Get them real big paydays.
How would you feel about that if in the prime of his career he fights someone like Jake?
At the end of the day, man, we've been doing this for so long. We in a position where we need to do what we want to do. Like, we've been doing this for a long time, taking punches for a long time, and it's not easy to go in there in front of millions of people and take punches. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, first of all, here's the thing. We've been doing this for a long time. This was just started his pro career. And Tank Davis is 30 years old, so he's been doing it longer, but he hasn't been fighting the best. So, yeah, technically, the fighter can fight whom he wants, but to make it seem as if Tank Davis has earned the shot at taking a fight against Jake Paul for big money, that doesn't really quite fly now, does it? I mean, Canelo's, if he would have fought Jake Paul, people were already crapping on him when the rumor started that he was going to fight Jake Paul. He certainly earned the right to fight a Jake Paul type of guy. If there, I wouldn't have liked it, by the way. I would have hated that fight. But what I'm saying is, if you follow that logic of, well, you got to earn the right to fight that type of exhibition, big money bound, then you'd have to say that Tank Davis didn't earn it. So I don't understand why Keyshawn Davis, again, earlier he said, I don't like the A-side tactics. Now he's sort of excusing this type of behavior.
He earned the right to do what he want to do. Outside of that, him and Jake Paul is going to bring so much eyes on the sport of boxing. I think it's good for boxing. Understand what I'm saying?
I mean, that's debatable. I can certainly understand why he thinks that, but I don't have a problem with that. Guys, what do you think about it? Tank Davis has earned the right to fight Jake Paul?
Absolutely not. I mean, anybody thinking that is just speaking out of insane bias. I mean, to think that any fighter deserves to fight or, should be allowed to fight Jake Paul when you're a champion, regardless of what belt, and sell it, like that's just terrible. People hate my views on this. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul is not going to happen, period.
Why do you say that?
Because they can't. I mean, they can't get away with that. Like, that's just ludicrous.
Fuck it. Let Jake Paul knock his ass out.
Okay. All right, guys. Like, here's an honest question. Here's an honest question. Are they really gonna pull a small lightweight up to fight a cruiserweight? Like, they can't.
Somebody would have told you 2 years ago that Jake Paul would be fighting as a middle-aged, actually a senior citizen in Mike Tyson, would you have believed that?
No.
Well, there you go. See, that's the thing, FST. You got to remember, this is a sport of boxing.
You have no imagination.
It's a degenerate sport. They're going to do anything for money.
Well, yeah, but there's a limit. I mean, they couldn't get a sanctioning body to sanction that. They can't get away with that. That's like beyond circus level. You have to do something like that to get away with it. You would have to get people to buy it. You would have to go to a place with no commission, and they used to have that in Japan, but they've been doing boxing there for years, so it's been sanctioned since. Sorry guys, that fight is not going to happen. I know people love to crap on Tank Davis, and I've done plenty of that, but that fight is not going to happen. It's all bullshit.
By the way, Casamigos Kyle in the chat says Primo Cornera fought a kangaroo. And wouldn't you know it, I just checked it out on Google. Yeah, there's plenty of pictures of him actually punching a kangaroo. I don't know how hard they went against the kangaroo, but that whole trope of boxing a kangaroo, that you used to see in the cartoons, that probably came out from somewhere. So listen, boxing has no qualms about lowering the bar. They will box if you think something's not low enough. Boxing will try to beat you to and say, "Yeah, watch and see." Hold my beer. So
okay, but there's a limit. Sorry, BDA, but there's a limit. Okay, because I see everybody in the chat disagreeing with me. They're saying people think that I'm saying the sanctioning bodies are noble people. No, the sanctioning bodies are idiots. But there is a limit to what these people are capable of, and they just you can't turn water into chocolate milk. Okay, it's just there are some things in this world that just are not possible, and it's literally going to be impossible to sanction that fight.
Well, first of all, you sound like a man of little faith with the whole turning water into chocolate. I mean, listen, if somebody could do it, it's our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So you're wrong there. But I get what you're saying about. I understand why you're incredulous about this fight not happening. But like I said, just when you think, well, this is the limit, it can't get any worse than that. Boxing, like I said, it'll surprise you. But there is a bit of a caveat here to that. The rumor was, and I think it was Roach that said this, Lamont Roach. He said that he'd heard that Tank Davis was about to fight Jake Paul if Tank would have won the first fight. That was the plan. That the plan was that Tank, they all expected Tank to beat Roach, and then they were going to fight Jake Paul. Now the rematch is taking place. So it seems to me like the same caveat is in place that Tank has to beat Lamont Roach. I mean, the whole gimmick based around a potential Jake Paul fight is that Tank Davis is undefeated. If he takes a loss, all of a sudden that Jake Paul fight loses a lot of steam. I don't see it happening if Tank Davis takes a loss, because like I said, then the gimmick is over. But if Tank Davis wins, especially if he wins in impressive fashion, you bet your keister, mister, that fight's taking place. Probably. I mean, again, I maybe people do come to their senses, FST, but I've grown very cynical when it comes to the sport of boxing. Oh, they just keep lowering the bar.
I'm cynical. I'm cynical as well. Don't get me wrong, but like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson was low, but here's the thing: all they needed was because they were around the same weight class. All they needed to do was sanction Mike Tyson, and these commission tests are BS. Like you can get away with all kinds of stuff. And Francis Ngannou against Tyson Fury. First of all, that was in Saudi Arabia, which has no commission. But even then, it's an athlete who's about the same size as the two are about the same size as each other. You're literally putting a lightweight against a cruiserweight. But I just don't think they can pull that off. I don't think they can get away with it. But if it happens, this can be another thing people love to troll me on. But I just don't think it will happen. But as far as Tank Davis, I don't even know how long he wants to keep fighting. I said after the first Roach fight that maybe his comments about not wanting to go on for much longer were genuine this time. We'll see.
Yeah, we shall see indeed, man. I mean, again, hey, Tank would have to beat Roach first, and that's not a given, seeing as how the first fight went. Fellas, don't forget to hit that like. This is the BDA Morning Show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this show. We're here with FST and Never Sobers. And we've been covering the Keyshawn Davis event a lot. But I also want to talk about we talked about Teofimo Lopez earlier too, him ducking Devin Haney. I mean, it's clear that he pulled out of that fight because of personal reasons. And I'm not going to try to delve too much into it. But again, like I said in the beginning of the show, one of the reasons why you want to be as forthcoming as possible and as fearless as possible in boxing and fight whomever they put in front of you is because if something ever does occur where you really can't fight somebody and you have to pull out of a fight, people are going to say, well, you know what? This guy's always fought the best. That's his reputation. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But when you're Teofimo Lopez and you've been playing this type of game, you're low on credit. And by the way, the Haneys are low on credit too. It just so happened to be that for once, they happen to be in the right in this situation. So there's no winners here when it comes to that Lopez-Haney situation. I'm going to open up the phone lines, by the way, in case anybody wants to call in, give us their thoughts on anything and everything boxing. So make sure to call in.
Ready to connect. Click connect the show now.
BDA.
Yes, go ahead.
BDA, while they get ready to call in,
you are connected.
It's getting close to 1 a.m. It's getting close to 1 a.m. here, so I'm going to call it a day. Probably call in on the afternoon show, which will be the morning where I am. Thanks for having me on, brother, and yeah, catch you guys later.
All right, FST, thank you for being on.
Later, man.
Oh, he just dropped down while I was talking. That's very rude. But listen, shout out to FST for jumping in. And what was I going to say about? Oh, yeah. So the phone lines, I'm opening up the phone lines and I want to talk about some. You know what? I think FST jumped out because he sensed what I was about to bring up. The PBC rumors of that the show getting worse for the PBC. By the way, we've been on for close to 2 hours. Jeez, Luis, I didn't see that. Yeah, well, listen, 15. We'll be on for a little bit longer because the phone lines. I had to open up the phone lines. I said people were going to call in, so phone lines are open. Make sure to call in, and yeah, we still got a couple of things to talk about here. Sobers, can you read the comments for a little bit here while I put up the phone number's right there, by the way. But yeah, are you able to read the
all right,
comments?
y'all. Give me something good, y'all. Give me something good to read.
Oh, come on.
FST is a pimp. False. BDA is being a T50 sympathizer. What's a
what
T50?
Is it? What the hell is a T50?
I don't know. Haney is king bottom hands. He's a king of bottoms? What?
Yeah, what the fuck? Why are people so weird in the morning, man? It's the morning show and people are being homosexual already, man. What's going on here?
Not a fan of Tank, but he made it clear years ago he was in it for the money, not legacy or titles. So he goes the easy route as possible. He goes the easiest route possible. Yes, we know. Yeah, true. Devin Haney is a Liberace of boxing.
Oh, come on. Wait, what?
Are you a master top?
Am I a master? What's going on here? Fellas, it's too early in the morning, man. Come on.
Cell block. I think cell block is.
All right, you know what? I'm doing this as fast as possible because I want you to stop reading the comments. This is outrageous. This type of behavior will not stand on the morning show.
Mr. Cell block is saying is where that liquor at?
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, listen, the phone number is right there in the top, and it's on the middle left-hand portion of your screen. Make sure to call in. Give us your thoughts on anything and everything boxing. Let's go to a phone call. Let's go to a nice, wholesome morning phone call, all right? 336, you're on the air. 336, what's on your mind?
I'm not sure what you're doing with this, like, Crip sympathizer monkey shit, but Haney's ducked Tio so many times. I'm at a point now, Haney needs Tio more than Tio needs
Hold on. Dora,
Dora.
Dora. Sorry to interrupt, but I can barely hear you. Are you on the Bluetooth? Because if you are, please get rid of it because I can barely hear you.
I'm on my AirPods.
Sounds fuzzy.
All right, here, I'll just take out my AirPods. Hold on, I'll turn it off. I'm on my AirPods. That might be what it is.
Yes, please. Because I want to hear this.
All right. But yeah, this is just more like monkey sympathizing bullshit.
Ah, come on.
So if you look at it, Tio, right, he just beat a top 5 fighter, won 10 rounds to 2, 11 rounds to 1. People were saying he struggles with boxers, this, and that. Haney wants to fight at 47 now, or 45, hide out from the top guys at 47. Tio wanted to fight for a title. And the reason I look at 145, the weight, and I think it's fucking stupid. You remember when Ryan Garcia ragdolled, body bagged Devin Haney and put him on a tree? And his fanboys said, oh, but guess who's still a WBC champion? And still went for a title. So when Tio lynches this guy, he's going to get no credit. They're going to say it's not for a title. It doesn't matter. They're going to make all the excuses in the world. They don't need this fuck. He doesn't owe Haney shit, dude. Haney threw 100 punches in his last fight against a shot dead fighter. You know, this guy's terrible for boxing. I don't want to see him get paid. So this is good. You know, fuck him. Tio's got so many other guys he can fight.
First of all, the fact that you're addressing him, the fact that you're addressing him as Tio in the first name basis, you're doing the same thing these people do with Keyshawn Davis, Key and Kerr. I think Kerr
no, I'm not.
is one of the best.
He's gone by
you're
Tio
doing exactly the same thing.
What the fuck?
Exactly the same
thing.
He's
always gone by Tio. No, it's not. Calling someone Tio instead of Key or Kerr, fucking just retarded jive.
I've actually heard you call Tio. I've actually heard you call Tio T. By the way, T. I think T's.
Yeah,
I
I
think
called
real
him
T's.
T. Yeah, I'm
And
sure I have, dude.
by the way,
But this
I'm aghast to hear. I'm aghast to hear this opinion of yours that Teofimo Lopez is not a duck. Look, listen. Like I said, there is a silver lining to this. Hold on. There's a silver lining to the situation that the Haneys are getting a taste of their own medicine, getting jerked around in negotiations. However,
exactly. Remember when? Go ahead.
This just real quick, Dora, and then I'll let you talk. This is a fight that people wanted to see, and Teofimo Lopez is pulling out because of momental reasons. Go ahead.
Well, another thing, do we know about what's in the? We don't know specifically what Haney's into the contract is. We talked about this after Haney robbed Loma, that Teo was never going to play B-side to him. We said this was going to happen. Haney's no A-side to Teofimo. He's not. His stock's at an all-time low. He's looked like shit. He's a sore loser, crybaby faggot. Fuck this guy, dude.
Yeah,
I don't
but
want to see him get paid ever.
I agree about
Teo
that.
can fight Rich. He can fight Bitch Shins. He can fight Puello or Matias. There's so many guys he can fight. Fuck Haney. Just leave him for dead. Leave him
I
for dead.
agree in part about
because he tried to fight for Teo's WBO title too. Remember? He tried to fight for Teo's vacant WBO title whenever Teo was fake retiring. Fuck this guy. Leave him for dead. He doesn't deserve shit. He's a stain on the sport. He's already done enough damage as is. Him.
I agree with some of what you're saying, Dora. I agree.
Kids.
I agree with some of what you're saying about the jerking around and the negotiations and all that. But that's not what Teofimo Lopez is saying. He's not saying, I've been jerked around in negotiations. What he's representative, not even Teofimo Lopez, his representative saying, he's going through some things right now, and the turnaround time was too short. He's not saying that he was lowballed. He's not everything you're saying, he's not saying that.
I don't care. Fuck Haney. That's all I got to say. Fuck him, dude. I don't want to see that fucking bum fight. Fuck that guy.
Hey, by the way,
I don't care. I'll just beat another top fighter. What's going to happen? Is Teo's going to beat another top fighter? Hold on, BDA. Teo's going to beat another top fighter, score another top 5 win, and these blacks are going to keep crying about it. They hate him because he's a great fighter. If he was some bum who was saying this shit, they wouldn't care. But because he's more accomplished than Keyshawn Davis, Hitchin, Shakur, Tank, Davina, he's better than all those guys. He's done more boxing than all those guys. They hate him for it, and that's what it is.
Davina. Well, listen, I agree with that. However, people, because you hang up abruptly. So before you hang up abruptly, people want to know, man, these allegations on Discord, man, you got to explain that. What's going on here?
You're talking about how I beat my dog? Yeah, I have cute aggression. Like whenever I see him sleep on my clothes, I pretend, because I got really dense bones and my knuckles, they always pop out. And he's got a medium-sized dog, so he's not fat. So I always pretend like I'm punching him in his ribs and his skull, and I stem out, and my face gets really, really red. And he just sits there and stares at me.
I don't know. Vessel claims. Hold on, Vessel.
I
that's
do
not
that to
what.
Bucho too, because it's whenever you're you're subjugating something. When Bucho does this China coat bullshit, and I tell him I'm gonna choke him out and constrict him and try and squeeze the retard out of him. That's the same shit, but I do it with the dog.
Vessel says, and he says there's witnesses to this because you're not quite being forthcoming here. You're not being quite clear on the issue.
You want me to get on? You want me to get on and do it? You want to do it right now?
Let me just tell you. Vessel said that you were on camera, and there's witnesses that corroborated this story. You were on camera, real close to your dog's balls and genitalia, and that you said, and then you said, wouldn't it be funny if I sucked my dog's dick? No, actually, you didn't say funny. I think they claimed that you said, what if I suck? What if I suck my dog's dick? Did you indeed say that?
No, I did not say that. This is some fucking doofy who can't stop talking about me after. I don't know. He's just a fan, dude. He's just a fan of Dora.
So all these people that say they saw
he's
this.
He's too busy. His fiance keeps screaming at him every day, so he has to take it out on me, I guess, and make lies. I mean, it's for my entertainment. I don't give a fuck.
So just to be clear, then, just on the record, hold on, just for the record. So you're denying these accusations, and by directly you're saying that.
No, I'm not a black fighter, dude. I'm not John Jones. I'm not a homo. Sorry.
So you're saying that all these people who said they saw you do and say that, you're claiming they're lying then?
That's not what happened.
I don't know.
I just told you. I pretend like I was breaking his ribs.
Sobers, I hear a lot of nervous. Is that nervous laughter from Dora, Sobers, or what's your take on this? Because this happened on your VC.
Yeah, I think he's being shifty at it right now. If we could see his face, he'd be looking. His eyes would be darting left and right now.
The only thing Dora didn't say is honestly. Honestly, I didn't do it. Honestly.
Well, yeah,
Look,
I'm
man,
honest
if you play
about
Red
it,
Rocket
because
with your
that's what
dog,
happened.
man,
I
you
already
know?
told you what happened.
I don't know, man. We got to get to the bottom of this. These guys said that they saw and heard you do that, and it
That's
doesn't
not
help.
what
It doesn't help
happened.
the
That's not what happened.
but it doesn't help your case when you say you like to torture your dog. I mean, come on, it paints you as an unhinged person.
I do not torture the dog. Look up what cute aggression is, and then you will get your answer.
Well, you say you like to choke your dog out.
Fucking Haney sympathizer.
You say you choke your dog out and you like to break its ribs. I mean, that sounds
No.
like abuse to me, man.
No, well, yeah, I do like to pretend as if I would break its ribs, but no, I do not. That's for Bucho. I like to squeeze him like a fucking baby.
I don't know who's worse. I don't know which brother. I don't know which brother.
Squeeze him, dude. I'm gonna squeeze his ass. He's so fucking stupid on geopolitics. I'm gonna squeeze the fuck out of him.
I don't know which brother. I don't know which brother duo. I don't know which brother duo is more unhinged, the Davises or you and your brother. Because I gotta tell you, you guys are in competition, man. It's if we could put up a yeah. Are you still there, Dora? He hung up. I don't know, Sobers. He was very quick to hang up as soon as this question started pouring in about him and his dog. Isn't that a little bit suspicious there?
Yeah,
Sobers?
I never heard his voice started cracking. He was like, I would never.
Yeah, well, again, just to clarify, there's allegations that he was on a VC on Sobers' Discord, which I'm pretty sure he's very happy that I keep saying that happened on his VC. That's bad publicity right there. But apparently, yeah, Vessel says that him and other people, and I saw the comments, people corroborating the story. Dora was on camera, very close to his dog's genitalia, trying to grab it. The dog, evidently, already having gone through this numerous times before, was trying to get away. He knew where this was going. And Dora then said, I'm going to suck my dog's dick. So when I brought that up to Dora, he started laughing very nervously. I don't know. I'd never seen Dora that... I'd never seen Dora that shifty before. I got to tell you, And then he's, like I said, his brother says he wants to shoot up schools and all that. I mean, I don't know. It's like I keep saying, it's the way you act and the way you carry yourself that lends credibility to your reputation. Dora and his brothers, man, I mean, everything that Dora is surrounded by doesn't really lead me to believe that he wouldn't do that to the dog. All I'm saying, again, I didn't see what happened. I'm trying to get to the bottom of things, but Dora's explanation didn't really convince me, Sobers. That's all I'm saying.
Well, not only is it possible, it's probable. He probably did that shit. So.
I mean, you think so? You think it's that? You think I mean, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here.
I don't know, man. He was giggling like a little schoolgirl.
I mean, it's weird, man. I mean, I don't know. Should we get the what's that called? The SPC, or what's that called? That organization in the United States that looks after animals? SPCA?
PETA?
No, the SPCA, I think. Anyway, somebody call that organization and do a wellness check on Dora's poor dog. Lord knows what's going on with him.
They're probably gonna find like his DNA around the dog's anus and shit.
Ah, come on, yeah. I mean, yeah, poor dog. This is actually, I think this is a sound from the VC. And you know what? When the dog complained, Dora goes, "No, that's cope. That's cope. You like it. You're coping." But yeah, man, this is a bizarre story.
You came. That's just cope.
yeah. Studies show dogs like to be sucked on by human beings. They like it. You're coping. But yeah, man, this is a weird situation, man. Very weird situation, and I don't even know if I want to keep going with this. To tell you the truth, to be honest with you, and I'm shifty-eyed right now. To be honest with you, but we'll see what happens. These type of things never really seem to end. Oh yeah, so going back to boxing here, I don't know why Dora took it. Shout out to Dora for taking it to that weird level. I didn't want to go there, but he took it there. He came in talking about dogs and everything. But I wanted to talk about this too. So we know the PBC's he's been in dire straits since 2023. That was their last year when they really tried to put on the biggest fight so that they could try to sell the product to other networks. Remember, they ruined boxing on HBO. They ruined it on Showtime. Those are the two major networks. In between, they also got kicked out of Fox, Spike TV, NBC, and what was it? CBS took their money and they never asked for more. They were completely disinterested in the sport. Sobers? What's the other network that they ended up floundering on? ESPN. They were also on ESPN at one point, I think. They didn't want anything to do with them. So then they move on now to Amazon. Last year, the beginning of last year, and people are going, the PBC fans were saying, man, yeah, this is great. Amazon, they've got 1 billion subscribers or whatever. They got more money than DAZN. It's going to be fantastic. Then they started, the PBC representative said 12 shows a year. That's what they said, 12 shows a year. They ended up doing 4, I think. Most of the 2 of them pay-per-view or 3 of them. This year hasn't been that much better. A lot of pay-per-views, a lot of car. I mean, listen, I enjoyed the Caleb Plant Lesendis fight. That was a nice upset. But so far, they haven't done that well. And Amazon wasn't giving them money. That's the rumor going around, that it's all the PBC paying out of pocket. Well, turns out maybe there's something to the fact that even Amazon is going to cut ties with them. This is what Rick Glazier said on Twitter. He said, who knew? First, all you naysayers said I didn't know what I was talking about. BBC is getting jettisoned by Amazon Prime Video. I have deep connections in not only boxing, but also the TV industry and with big-time attorneys. He sounds like me, by the way. My info is very on point. Show some respect! ! He's referring to this article that I don't know who posted it. I don't even know where this article is from. I've been looking for the source, can't find it. So I don't even, take it with a grain of salt. But apparently Amazon is refocusing some of its branding or some of the roster that it wants to place and cover as it pertains to sports. And they're saying Amazon's current combat sports slate no longer fits the new direction. Premier Boxing Champions is on its way out since it still wraps. The focus is now on properties with scale, global pull, and advertiser confidence. So it sounds like they're talking about the BDA boxing organization. But Sobers, what do you think about this? Is this a surprise to anybody or?
Well, not to anybody here. Maybe to Fight Sport Talk. I'm sure he's going to be devastated when he hears the news.
Come on.
But no, this is something we've seen, I think, like a long time coming. There's pattern recognition. Every company that the PBC works with, they end up burning their bridge, and they end up getting, run out of there because of the subpar matchmaking. And just general bad business.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, listen, I want as much boxing as possible, Sobers. You know me, I like my boxing. Obviously, that's why we have a show. But anybody that said, they do the ad hominem attack, too, with the PBC. It's like, oh, you said the PBC is going out of business. Nobody here, as far as I remember, and I can certainly remember what I said. I never said and never provided a specific year in which the PBC is going down. I was always with the Bucho train of thought that was, look, the PBC is going down. That's undeniable. If you compare them year by year, they've been going down. They haven't been improving. They haven't been improving the quality of the fights. They certainly haven't been improving their income, their profits. They're stuck on Amazon where they have to shell out the money for the production costs. That's not a good place to be in. And Al Heyman, according to Rick Glacier, says that Heyman has been MIA for almost a year or over a year now. Apparently, the rumor is that Al Heyman is sick, physically ill, which is a shame. But the responsibilities of the PBC have been taken over by Luis de Cubas, I think they said, or Brown, one of those guys. That I think he's the guy with the Weinstein on the face. So evidently the PBC is on its way out. Maybe they should just cut their losses and sell their roster to other promoters. I don't know. What do you think, Sobers? Well, no, Sobers is busy. He's gonna say I was busy. So BDA, honestly, I was just busy, man. I'm busy all the time, honestly. But yeah, listen, the PBC.
I'm sorry, I was doing something with my dog.
Come on. you were FaceTiming with Dora, seeing who could do the worst thing to their dog.
But yeah, get rid of PBC, bro. Just let it merge with what Showtime Boxing became. All the smoke. You know what I'm talking about, BDA?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Get that. Everyone wants all that smoke. But it's interesting, Sobers. Now that you mentioned it, because we're talking about the BBC roster, they're really running thin too, man. I mean, they got Benavides, who's not a star. Tank Davis is the closest thing to a star they have, and even he has failed to get over that hump into the mainstream world. His pay-per-view numbers certainly indicate that he's not a mainstream star. And after that, who else do they have? Caleb Plant is one of the guys that they were really trying to push us. Oh, yeah, this is the guy we got. This is one of our stars. He just lost. So what else do they have? They don't have any up-and-coming prospects.
The undefeated Jamal Charlo.
Oh, you know what? You just stumped me on that one, man. That's right. The undefeated middleweight sensation, 35-year-old Jamal Charlo. You're right. Jamal Charlo, yeah. How could I forget? My apologies to everybody out there. I mean, yeah, you're right, man. I mean, it's the PBC is it's not looking good. They don't have much to build on here. By the way, did they ever release the numbers for the Roach Tank Davis bout?
I never saw him.
I never saw them either, man. Should check out Jedi Goodman. Maybe he had the numbers. But listen, we got to move on here. Oh, by the way, okay, so real quick, man. I'm just looking to the news here. No, I think we covered pretty. There's a whole bunch of, B-level type news. Crawford thinks his Canelo clash is going to surpass Mayweather-Pacquiao records. Anthony Joshua is in talks to ink a 2-year deal that might involve fighting Jared Anderson and Dylan White. We didn't even talk about Eduardo Nunez winning the title a week ago. He looked pretty good in that one, Sobers. What did you think?
That was a good fight. That was a really good fight. When what was the guy's name? Rikishi. I like Japanese fighters, because he was using some movement, but he wasn't doing no running. He would stand his ground and he would fight. Nunez.
Yeah, man, I liked it. Some people were comparing him to Beterbiev, which I think is going a little bit too far. I think Beterbiev is way more skilled.
Let's just he's buff and he has a beard, or I don't get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand why the comparison, because he does He's a very stout, stocky, strong cut fighter. So I understand that. I like the fact that he kept going forward. At first, the first 2 rounds, I said, "Oh boy, there's gonna be a bit of a problem chasing this guy around." But then he really did just tire Rikishi out, forced him to stand his ground. And I like those stabbing shots to the body, those straight stabbing shots to the body. That's money right there, as I'd like to say. That's gold. So we'll see what he can do going forward.
And he was cutting the ring off like you're supposed to. He was shifting side to side with him, and he was trying to catch him on his way out. The side that he was going. He would if he was trying to leave to his left, he would try to catch him with the right hook on the way out. So, you want to see how the way a short guy's supposed to fight a guy that's moving. You watch Sugar Nunez, and he has a pretty good style. He knows how to use it, his stature, I guess.
Great observation right there, Sobers. By the way, fellas, don't forget to call in. We're about to leave, but if you want to squeeze in a final phone call, if you want to take it all in, as Keyshawn Davis said, make sure to call in. By the way, sad news. Lomachenko is not the only fighter who retired. Kosei Tanaka also retired, former junior flyweight and flyweight champion, I believe. I forget which organization. A 4-weight world champion. Wow. I mean, that's not that impressive nowadays when there's 6-7 belts floating around. But still, Kosei Tanaka was a very dynamic fighter, and he retired. And he said that it was the worst day of his life, which, by the way, I think every day should be the worst day of his life. He's wearing these ridiculous haircuts. Look at that. The Japanese have some weird haircuts, man. Let me tell you. But
he's trying to look like a Super Saiyan.
he's trying to look like the guy from Ichi the Killer. But be that as it may, yeah, he was a good fighter, and he's retired now. He was relatively young, too. He was, how old was he?
They're saying he's 29 in the chat. Is he the one that had like some kind of brain bleed?
No, that was somebody else. I don't think this guy suffered from brain bleed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recall him having a brain bleed. But the other thing is, from what I remember of Kosei Tanaka, is they do most the time in Japan with Japanese sensations. They threw him into the wolves pretty early, kind of like Lomachenko. So even though he didn't have that many fights, a total of 22 fights according to this, most of them were quality fights. So it's understandable that he would retire young, because there was very little filler with a guy like Kosei Tanaka. Incidentally, the guy that beat him, Cafu, is going to be fighting Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and that should be an interesting fight right there. Let me read a couple of comments here. Can ego even count to 550,000, says Super Sardonic? I don't know what that means. Hold on a second. Aaron Fist said, feed Charlotte to Janibek. Who the fuck is Charlotte?
Charlo.
Oh, Charlotte. He's calling him Charlotte. Super Sardonic says, Kosei Tanaka asked his barber for the Ultra Instinct. Ah, come on. Is that what it is? The Ultra Instinct? What else do we got here? The Blame Boxing says Dora edges his dog. Ah, come on. Oh, jeez, Luis.
That's nasty.
Him and his dog goon together. They're both gooners. Super Sardonic says even younger and hungrier lion like Manny Pacquiao. Or Manny Pacquiao is a young, hungry lion. Yeah, he still wants that big win. Grim Reaper says he fought Cafu, who Bam is fighting. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting fight, man. Blame Boxing says him and Loma, the fastest 3-weight champs. I mean, yeah, man. Kosei Tanaka was a good, decent fighter. I mean, more than decent, but I think his legacy is going to hurt him the fact that in one of his biggest fights, he ended up losing to Ioka, getting stopped by Ioka. That was a good fight, too, by the way, going in. A lot of people had that as a 50-50 fight. What else? Other things in the news here. Oh, yeah, well, like I said, Saturday we got Junto Nakatani fighting, what's his name? It's a unification bout, if anybody's interested in that type of stuff. Nishida, Southpaw, he has a win over Emmanuel Rodriguez. Sobers, are you going to be getting up and early on Sunday evening to watch that bout?
Yeah, I like Junto Nakatani. I like his fights. I like watching him. So yeah, I like watching the Japanese cards. You know, and there's this really good budding rivalry between Mexico and Japan. They have really good fights, so they're always good to stay up and watch.
Now, let me ask you: Do you want Nakatani to look as impressive as possible, so that a Inoue fight is as big as possible?
Yeah, why not? Why not Bam?
Well, that's the thing, though. Nakatani is stuck between not stuck. It's a good place to be stuck in. He has the option of fighting Bam if Bam moves up in weight, or Nakatani, could move up in weight and take on Inoue. So, yeah, they've been talking about a Bam Rodriguez-Nakatani fight, but which one would you prefer?
Bam, because I just said this Mexico-Japan rivalry. You know, we need more fights.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point right there. I mean, who cares what happens in Japan?
I don't know if I would favor Junto at 122 against Inoue.
That's a good point. Well, I mean, Nakatani has looked very good in his last couple of fights. Let me just check the record. How many stoppages does he have in a row now? So he's been looking damn near invincible. However, even though he's fighting good opposition, you have to wonder how he's going to look against elite opposition. And let's not forget that El Chihuahua Rodriguez took him the distance. He didn't fall for Nakatani's tricks. And then, what was the name of the other Mexican guy? RG Cortez, who you remember went the distance too with Estrada. I think prior to that bout, he went the distance too with Nakatani. So Nakatani, when he finds some of these dudes that don't have world-class speed or power, he tends to knock them out. But if they're a little bit better than that level, all of a sudden, he can't quite stop him. So I have to wonder. First of all, I want to see how he looks against a fellow Southpaw like Nishida, who also is undefeated and who also has a decent record himself with that Rodriguez win. I want to see how he looks. If he cleans the ring up, mops the ring with Nishida, I'll be okay. Then I'll say, first of all, Sobers, I would favor him over Bam Rodriguez. But if he beats Nishida in impressive fashion, I'm also thinking, okay, you need to move up to fight Inoue. Either Inoue or Bam Rodriguez. But I'm still a little bit dubious of Nakatani. I do think Bam Rodriguez has been overrated too, because he too has had performances where he doesn't look as invincible as people make him out to be. I'm talking about the Israel Gonzalez fight. And what was the name of the other Gonzalez? What was his nickname? Not Chicharito. It wasn't Divino.
I can't remember
his nickname, but his last name was Gonzalez too. And he ended up fracturing Bam Rodriguez's jaw in that fight. So Nakatani, that's another dude that's tall and rangy, like Israel Gonzalez and the other Gonzalez, Christian Gonzalez. That was his first name, Christian Gonzalez. But so these whole people people think, oh, Bam Rodriguez is going to go undefeated for a while. I don't know. Yeah, lately he's been stopping people, but there's a little bit of an asterisk too on some of those wins. So the only way we're going to find out at this point, Nakatani, Rodriguez, and Inoue have shown that they are the best. They're way too dominant for some of these dudes. They need to fight each other. By the way,
I think it'll be some good fights.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez's nickname, that's El Chicharito. Yeah, I remember. By the way, I always advertise champignon.info as the site I use instead of BoxRec to see people's records. But do not be fooled. It's still a little bit imperfect because they have Christian Gonzalez as being 35 years old. He's not 35, he's 25. And this error has been there for years now.
10 years?
Yeah, it's a 10-year mistake that they made. I'm going to get on the horn and I'm going to let him know, man. I'm going to send him an email and say, hey, listen, somebody needs to change this. What the fuck? You're making yourselves look bad. You want to compete against BoxRec and I'm putting your name out there. I'm giving you the BDA seal of approval and you're making mistakes like this. This ain't good, Sobers. This makes me look bad. Not as bad as if you know somebody from this organization was gooning along with their dog or something like that, but it's still pretty bad. Close enough. I'm not going to have it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have it. Shout out to Telkines in the chat, who always has some interesting takes, and he says, Bam running from Puma. Come on. How does he get there? How does he come to the conclusion that Bam is avoiding Puma Martinez? Sobers, what do you think about that?
I don't know. He'll tell you himself he's just an edgelord. He was telling us that Canelo was running away from school for about a year, so you seen how that fight turned out, right?
Wait, he said he's an edgelord?
Yeah, he said he's the ultimate edgelord.
I don't believe he said that, and I don't want to believe it because I want to keep believing that. I don't want to break the magic. You know, I don't want trade secrets being spilled. So I'm going to go ahead and say that
he has a lovely singing voice.
You know, I heard that. I heard him singing the national anthem, and I'm not kidding around when I said he's hitting the notes, man. He was hitting some of those high notes.
Yeah, he's good.
Telkines is a man of many surprises and many talents, I got to say. Who knows what he's going to come up with next. Next thing he's going to come out and say, oh, yeah, I just finished my PhD in chemistry or something. I go, whoa, really? A jack of all trades, if there ever was one. The Blame Boxing says Elite Edger is diabolical. wait, who's an Elite Edger? What the fuck is that about? Hey, Sobers, have you seen that, by the way, the edging competition that they do nowadays?
No, man, that just sounds disgusting, man.
Well, I mean, you say disgusting, but some people say the same thing about boxing. Oh, it's disgusting that they take people from impoverished backgrounds and they pit them to fight against each other like dogfighting. That's diabolical. So I think it's relative, man. But yeah, some people look at the edging I saw a clip of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I didn't want to see. It's weird because it's all dudes there cheering each other on, watching another guy, doing it. So I it's weird. It's this edge. Anything goes nowadays in the internet, I suppose.
Thinking about going or what?
Thinking. It's already set, man. I got my ticket ready. But no, I'm kidding, obviously. We never released that episode, by the way, on Second Renaissance because there was a technical glitch that corrupted the video. But on the Second Renaissance, we watched the documentary about that British girl that banged 100 guys in under 24 hours. There's a scene where the camera crew go into after everything's over with, after she's banged 100 dudes, the camera people go into the room and the cameraman starts gagging at the smell. So I can only imagine if something similar happens over there at the Edging World Championships. What's it called? EWC? Yeah, EWC, I think it's called. Edging World Championships. Do you think they should have called it the GWC, Gooning World Championships, or is EWC more it's catchier?
EWC sounds more catchy, almost like a wrestling federation.
There you go. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So yeah, man. Listen, that's all we got so far for today. We gotta go. We've been on here for over 2.5 hours. Hopefully, people enjoy the show. We gotta do this more often so that more people call in because I don't think people are quite attuned yet. I don't know if people are I don't know if people are getting ready to go to work or they're in commuting. I don't know if they had the time to call in, but hopefully
they're all edging right now.
Come on, man! Oh, you're gonna fluster me like FST when he gets flustered. I don't know why you're bringing that up. It's like, come on, man. I'm just kidding around.
Moving
Don't take it
on.
so serious.
Next question.
Oh yeah, he was ignoring my questions at some point. Did you hear that? He's like, hey man, why are you saying this? Why would you say something so controversial and so racist? And he would just go, so I think Keyshawn is gonna be. It's like, come on, man. You gotta address the controversial comments you make. He has to address the controversial comments he makes, man. He can't just go out there and ignore them. But hold on, let me just find out if I close the phone lines because sometimes I forget here. Host show. No, that's not it. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, show. What's his name? Telkines is saying that he's been schooling Showbiz on the no running rule. I don't know what that means, man, but I've said it before. I agree with the no running rule. I'm glad a bigger channel is picking this up because nobody listens to us. Nobody cares what we have to say. But hopefully Showbiz gets people thinking. I also saw that Kenobio and Algeria were talking about that. I think they were talking about clinching as well. So I'm glad people are stepping up now because people always say, oh, we want boxing to grow as a sport and we want it to get back to where it used to be or close to where it used to be back in the 1940s. We want to make boxing great again. The way you make it great again is by making it more entertaining. And you make it more entertaining by returning to its roots. And you do that by implementing the rules. You start from the bottom up. If you have shitty fights, you have a shitty product, and you have a shitty sport. But if you apply the rules, no running, no clinching, then it becomes a better, more aesthetically pleasing sport. And I've seen, Sobers, I've seen some people making the argument. Oh, so you want to change the rules because some people can't handle a mover. Nobody's saying changing the rules. The rules are already there, and they're unequivocal about it. Running is a form of self-defense, not boxing defense. You can't run in boxing because you're avoiding combat by doing so. That's the rules. The rules are quite clear. Just people never open up one of the rule books. So, no, we're not changing the rules to appease a bloodthirsty crowd. The rules are already there. They just don't implement them. Same way as most referees don't implement the no clinching rule.
Exactly. You're not trying to change the rules. You just want the rules enforced.
Is this just some people wanting to see their favorite fighters just run around the ring and not get knocked out? Is that what there's
a certain kind of fighter that favors, and they need that advantage in order to win. Like say someone like Andre Ward or Shakur Stevenson. If Ward wasn't allowed to clinch so much, if he has more warnings on the low blows, he's kind of a dirty fighter, right? Mm-hmm. But he wasn't really much of a runner. But so maybe I'll just leave him out of it in this case. But let's say Shakur Stevenson, all that rabbit jump jacking around the ring and shit. The referee said, knock it off and start fighting. A lot of his fights would be a little harder. Like he went 9 rounds to take out Padley. He fought him, in the pocket pretty much toe to toe. And that guy was giving him hell. So just imagine he gets in there with someone who doesn't do this as a hobby.
Exactly.
He's going to be in trouble. So.
No, you're absolutely right. And one of the reasons why I also think some of these dudes don't complain enough, some fans, what I'm talking about, some fans don't complain enough about the no running and clinching. And I'm okay with the running and the clinching. It's not only that they're fans of these guys on a personal level and they don't want to see them lose. They live vicariously through these fighters. But I think it's also because they don't purchase the fights. They don't buy the pay-per-views. They don't pay for the streaming services. So if the fight is shit, they're okay with it because they didn't pay for it. They didn't lose anything. But us paying customers, now we're looking at the fight. We're going, you know what? Am I really subsidizing and paying for Shakur Stevenson's lifestyle when he delivers a subpar performance, running around the ring, leaping like a rabbit, or Devin Haney, which was on a pay-per-view, by the way, that made it more egregious. I mean, come on, these people that defend these fighters need to get out of the sport, man. These people that defend runners and clinchers, they need to get out of the sport, and they will be taken out one way or another. That's what FST said, by the way. That was his quote, not mine. Sobers, anything else you want to say before we move on?
No, I think we said everything that needed to be said today.
Yeah, I think we covered everything we needed to. So shout out to Sobers, shout out to FST, shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who joined us and tuned in early morning for an early morning show. Remember, guys, the early bird gets the worm. That's what Sobers always says. So glad you enjoyed the show, or hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll try to be back. I don't know if we're going to do a show later on. I think there's a high probability for controversy and a lot of insanity if we do an open line show later on in the evening surrounding Lomachenko's legacy. Sobers, you get a pretty good grasp on people and audiences. Do you think that would do well? Should we try to do that today?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. We'll see if we can work on that. But shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Super Sardonic, Knockout Ned, Dark A Dog, Iron Fist, your boy Neto Garcia, Dex 2024, JJ, the aforementioned Telkines. Go check out Telkine's channel, by the way. He goes live. He's doing he's going through his Veda theme right now. Shriman Virabhadra. I don't know what that's all about. Shout out to Al Cuerpo Boxing, Norman Lewis, Iron Fist, Vader D, Jin Ryu Jr. 33, Grim Reaper, JJ, Bray. Shout out to Bray. And if I forgot anybody, fellas, it's because we gotta go.